Hey guys, Max here with A Website Pro. Today I'm going to make an inventory app. Now I looked around online. There's a bunch of inventory apps, but they want so much information and then they want you to pay for it and stuff like that. So I'm doing this for free for all you guys and my students, and you feel free to use the app once I get it done here. But here I'm at the beginning stages. And this here under my users, I'm creating my tables, trying to anticipate what I'm going to need. I'll need an ID number of the user, uh, their name, and the email. And I'm also going to use the email as the username just to make it simple. And that way I could just tell people put in their username and then their password. And then I'm going to timestamp it, so uh, have what time people are going to come in, uh, you know. The other thing, the other table I'm making is the merchandise table. And of course, every entry is going to have an ID number. And then the user ID is going to be associated with whatever user is enters this merchandise. So then that way when somebody logs in, they can see their own merchandise and not somebody else's. In here, they're going to be able to put a name for the merchandise, whether it be a bed, pens and pencils, whatever. Here we're going to put location, whether it's in the attic, the basement, the bedroom, the garage, blah, blah, blah. I'm also going to have a little bin number section, and this is nice because a lot of times you go to Dollar General, Walmart, or whatever and get those bins to store things in. And what we're going to do here is we're going to just store our bin numbers. In the description section, it's going to be just a text area, and we're going to have, a little placeholder that has make, model, color, material. So basically, somebody could talk into their phone and just say what it is. The whole idea of this is to make it quick, the condition, new, used, maybe we'll even put fair. We're also going to give the ability to upload a picture. Now, this is where it gets to be time consuming. When you want to do things quick, picture uploading isn't that fast. So I'm going to make this an optional field. Especially a lot of these cameras, they store so many megapixels, and when they upload them to the server, it gets to be a pain in the ass. But what we're going to do here is let that be optional. If they don't have a picture, then that's fine. If they just want to, if it's like pens and pencils, you don't need to take a picture, or you can. And then we're going to timestamp each one of those merchandise entries. So that's the layout, what I got so far. It may change, but I figured I'd record this programming, and then that way you guys, whenever if you're an advanced programmer, you could see, or coming into advanced intermediate, you'll be able to see how this whole process lays out. So first of all, you just write it out what you're going to do, and then you just try to think through your programming logic, and one has to be associated with the other. And obviously I'm going to be using a lot of the shortcodes or the tutorials that I've made in the past at A1 Website Pro, and I got a lot of these nice, quick PHP snippets and stuff like that. Like I already know I have one program, I believe it's under this AJAX, where I could actually copy and paste like user login. So we'll go ahead and look through here. Let's see here. Yeah, a secure sign-up script with PHP, jQuery, and AJAX. So that's probably where I'm going to start, because everybody is going to have to be able to sign into their own account. So this already has my PHP sessions and has a nice little tutorial here. So this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to grab the file here and download it to my computer and go from there. Now that it's downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and show it in the folder. I'm going to go here, right click. I'm going to hit extract all, extract. And this kind of gives me what I need for, the beginnings of my program. The other thing I need to do is go and start out my SHAMP server, my control panel here. I'll bring it over here. And So I'm going to start up my Apache, MySQL, and that should get me in. So let me fire up a browser here. Go to my local host. Or actually, I think I have it to be site something. It's been a while since I've been in here. I'll just go to local host and watch it come up there. And here's my PHP admin. And there's that. I'm going to go back and open this up. Oh, let's see here. I know that I did something. And all these things are local hosts. Oh, I think it's called site test. https://site-test. Something of that nature. Oh, yeah, I think I remember. It's site.test. And okay, so it's not secure there, but I did a little editing in Windows so I can have an SSL on my local server. And that's what that's all about. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a folder here, go down to my C drive, and go to my Champ server, to my htdocs, and then right here, I'm going to right-click, select New, Folder, Inventory. All right, so there we go. Nice blank folder there. I think I will use, I don't know if I want to use Atom or Notepad++. Any HTML editor will do, but Atom kind of crashes a lot, so I think I'm going to use Notepad++ to edit these files and program these files. I'll disconnect from my FTP. I'm going to go up here to plugins and close that NFTP, and I will go to the Explorer where I'm over here, and you can see my list here. I'm going to navigate to inventory and create a new file. Make sure PHP is working. We'll just go echo hello, just like that. I'll hit save, and no, I don't want to save it in there. Make sure it's saved in the right folder. So we'll go back to see Windows, htdocs. Once you do this for the first time, it'll save it in the same place every time. We'll call this index.php, and under here I don't want to save it as a text file. I want to save it as a PHP file. Let me go down here to where it says PHP, and then I will click save. The next thing I'm going to do is start up my browser window again. Oh, may as well start up Chrome here. But just notice that I'm on a different window. Okay, what I did was I was on a different window, so I have several different workstations, but the video follows along. But anyway, I'm going to hit save on this index.php file. I'm going to bring up my site.test on my local host, and I'll type in inventory, just like so, and I get that hello. Okay, that means that I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start programming. All right. So first things first, though, I'm going to have this folder right here. I'm going to bring up another folder where I have my downloads right there, and go to this archive that I downloaded from A1 Website Pro. I'm just going to grab these and drag them over and put them in there, and I'll just go ahead and replace the file, the destination. And just to show you folks what we have here, we'll go ahead and reload that. This is kind of what I just brought in with the, this is what I downloaded. And if we look at that on the Google Chrome browser, I'll go ahead and refresh it here. So you have a username, email, and password. But I don't have the database set up. So I want to do the database, but I want to run it from HTTPS site.test, and then go to my PHP admin this way. So I'll close this out so I don't get confused. And here we go. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create another new database. So I'm going to hit database, inventory, and I want to make sure that's UTF-8. Create. That's a universal language. Okay, so the database that I need, I have it here on this proposal. So I'm just going to scroll down here. I know it's here somewhere. I have my tables that I need. No, I don't. I need an ID, username, password, reg date. So we'll just call this table users. And let me bring up my inventory app. So I'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So we're just going to go with 5 rows here. Hit go. All right. Now my first one is just going to be my ID like usual, and it's an integer. And if I scroll over here in PHP MyAdmin, this is what makes it nice. I'm going to auto increment them, so they go from 1, 2, 3. So as each person signs up, they'll get a different number. Okay, and we'll have that be the primary key. So we got that taken care of. Okay, so the next one that we need is the name. An email, password. Okay, so we'll go name, and we want that to be varchar, 255 characters. Email, that's going to be varchar, 255 characters. Password, and we are going to just set this to password in here. So let me find the password. Okay, password we're going to set to varchar as well. And the characters should never be any longer than 60, but I'm just going to do 65 on here. And then for this, it's going to be timestamp for the last one. This will keep updated on when the last time the person signed in. You know, I really don't care how long they've been there, but you could make another the date time registered if you want to, but this timestamp, this particular one here, is just going to be for the last time that they logged in. All right, so let's go ahead. And you could keep track of their IP address and all that stuff, but we're not going to bother with all that here. I just need the timestamp. There we go. And we don't have to put a length of values because that is what it is. I'm just going to click Save, make sure everything goes through okay. All right, now we have our users table. Now the next table that I need to make is the merchandise table. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on inventory over here. And we're going to create another table. We'll call it merch. We'll just call it merch. Keep it short. And in that, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. So 8, 9 rows. Click go. First one, once again, is going to be the ID number. It's going to be an integer. And this is going to auto increment and be our primary key. Okay. The next thing that we're going to go with, okay, let me just see if I can remember. User ID, name of merchandise. Okay, we'll just put here user name for the merchandise. We'll just call it name merch. And maybe we'll camel case that letter. Name merch. Camel case, if we have any more than 2 words, we'll camel case it. Then we'll have location, bin, description. So location, the bin number. Just go bin num. Do this. Camel case that bin number. Description, condition, DESCR, and condition. All right. Picture and timestamps. So we'll just call this a file. And timestamp, just like time spam. Just like that. All right, so let's go up here. The user, I just want to be varchar, 255 characters, name. Varchar shouldn't be any longer than 255 characters. The location, we'll just keep this varchar, 255. And the bin number, we could use it as an integer, but if people want to use like A1, B3, or whatever, we'll just make it varchar as well. Now the description, this could get a little bit lengthy, so we'll just put that as text. And we don't have to enter in a length here. The condition, once again, varchar, and we'll just do 255. The file name, once again, varchar, 255. A timestamp, we will just have timestamp. This is the last time it was edited or when it was entered. And so let me go ahead and find the timestamp, and there you go. And what I'm going to do is hit save. Condition is a MySQL reserve keyword. So I have to rename the condition. So we'll name that to COND, okay? That way it doesn't interfere with MySQL. All right, click save. And there we go. Now we have our users and we have our merch. Now let's go back to creating our secure password. And script here is the index. We have the name. If you look here, this is what we downloaded. We're using the jQuery from Google. We have an input name. Notice I don't have a form tag. I will be putting form tags. We'll do this with Bootstrap and everything, but for all intents and purposes, I'm going to skip that right now. There's our input for our username, our email, our password. Our input ID is submit. This is the submit button. And here's the div class of display. And so what this will do is this jQuery on the document ready function, it's going to look to see when that submit button has been clicked. And it's going to grab the name from the name, whatever's in this name ID. It'll grab the email. It'll grab the password, okay, from these fields up here. And then it's going to create a variable in this data string of the name, the email, and the password. It's going to store it in this data string. And it's going to check if the name is empty, email is empty, or the password is empty. It's going to hit this display div, and it's going to say, hey, please fill out all the fields. So let's go ahead and test that, make sure that that's working. And we'll just go ahead and click save, just to make sure it's saved. And we're just going to go over here and refresh, and I'm just going to hit submit. And so it is not working. So what could the problem be? Well, I might have to use jQuery before my dollar signs. A lot of times that's a common problem whenever you're programming. So you got to put the small letter J, QUERY. And I'm just going to grab this and put this in front of each one, each variable name. I'll hit save and see if that was my issue. We'll hit refresh, hit submit, and it was not my issue. So I reset them all back to just to the $sign, and should have done what every good programmer does, is go to the console. So I'll right click and hit inspect, and I'll bring that over here. Maybe I'll put it into the you can see here that I already have some warnings in the console. Mixed content, it was loaded over HTTPS, but the requested is an insecure script. So let me go ahead and change that AJAX Google app list to a secure script. So how I do that is I just open this up and I put my little S sign on there. I'm going to save the document. We'll go here, hit refresh, and try to submit it again. And now here we go. Please fill out all fields. All right. So obviously we don't have any users in the database yet. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and put in my username, email, max at a1websitepro.com, password abc123. And I'm going to hit submit. And here we go. Unknown database, dbase, blah, blah, blah. So what happened? Well, the problem is I did not edit the config file in order to connect to my database. So I'm going to double click that. And so we have, I'm using localhost, that's right. Root is right. I don't have a password entered, but you don't need one whenever you're running on the local host like I am. And the database that we're using is inventory, but let me make sure that I got this right. Inventory, yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and put in inventory here. Just like so, and then I'm going to hit save. And you know, I could just run this config file, and if it fails to connect, in fact, let me go ahead and put roots or root xxx, and we should get this failed to connect to the database. Well, if we just run the config file. So let me go ahead and show you that. We'll just go ahead and go to the config.php file, and so here we go. Access denied for this user. Okay, so it's sending me out an error. So if I want a successful connection, I'm going to go up here, put the correct root, put inventory, and so if it fails, it'll give me a message like we have similar, or we'll just have a couple p tags here and say, "Yay, we're in!" Exclamation point. Just like so, and we'll go here and I will refresh this. Yay, we're in. So we're successfully connected to the database now. Okay, otherwise it wouldn't show us that message. Now, I'm just going to take this totally out because we don't need any messages being put in there. On the index page, you notice that we're not including a connection to the config file. Well, why is that? Well, that's because all the information we send from this form, we're going to be sending to the processor PHP file, and that is where it needs to be connected to the database. So you notice right here, include once, config.php. So when the name comes over, we're going to sanitize that string and this filter from name1, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing for your email. We're going to use filter sanitize email and filter flag strip pi. And then we're going to filter the password, filter flag strip pi. And then we're going to go ahead and take this variable of password, all right? And we're going to use the bcrypt, and we're going to use the function of password underscore hash and store it in a variable called hash. The next thing we're going to do is connect to MySQL, and we're going to insert into users the username, the email, and the password, and the variable of name, email, and the password of hash, right? And then we're just going to echo out something here. You know, this is your password. This is the encrypted password, just to, just show you what's going on. So let me go ahead and go back to the inventory. Here we have my name, my email, password ABC123. Hit submit. Oh, look at that. So there's my username, my email, the password is ABC123, and here's our encrypted password of ABC123. Let's see what that looks like in the database. We'll click on users, and voila, it did not insert. Oh, let's see here. So what could be going on here? Okay, so in order to debug what's going on, I'm going to bring up my Notepad++, and in my index here at the very, let's see here, at the very top, I'm going to go ahead and put in a PHP tag, and go ahead and close that out. Then I'm going to go inside here. While I'm working on this script, I want to see all the PHP errors, and so that's why we use these 3 lines. We want it to display errors, startup errors, and reporting. Just tell us what the hell's going on here, and why isn't our program doing what it's supposed to do. So let's go ahead and refresh this. Go ahead and put in name, Maximus, Max, A1websitepro.com, ABC123, hit submit. Now we see that it's going over there. We're not seeing any PHP errors, but yet it's still not inserting it into the database. So in this instance, we're just going to have to go to our processor page and see what the hell's going on here with this MySQL query. Okay, so let me go ahead and kind of make this a little bit smaller, but if we notice what's going into the query is it's getting inserted into the correct database of users, and you can see users right there. Well, the inventory users. Inventory is defined in the config file, but then users is in this file. But notice we have username, email, password. So in the database, if we look at the structure, we just have name and email, okay? And in this particular application, I just want to use the email as the username. So really, we don't even need the username field here. But for all intents and purposes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to username. Rather, I'm going to change username just to name. Okay. Then that way we have name, email, password. And then let me just go ahead and save that in the processor file. So we have these characters matching up. The name, email, and password. The timestamp and the ID number will just automatically go. So let's go ahead and refresh once again. And we'll go ahead and put the name, my email, Max at A1 Website Pro, and ABC123, just like that. We hit submit. So there's our information. Now let's go ahead and look at our database. And if we click on that database, we should see it this time. I'm hoping. And there we go. We have the name, the email, and the password. Now I have to remember that I'm going to use the email as the username, because that could drive you crazy later, because you just want to be able to have that in the back of your mind. Okay, now let's start developing our application. Okay, now that we got it so people can sign up, they can sign up, but it doesn't do any good if they can't log in, right? Well, if you go back to A1 Website Pro and go once again under Programming and AJAX, we need to copy the sign-up script. So if we scroll down here, we already created a secure sign-up script, but now we need to be able to log in. So here's our login script with AJAX, jQuery, PHP, and MySQL. Okay, so if we come down here, we see here that we have some preliminary lessons, but I just want to come down here and grab these scripts. So we'll grab the scripts here on page 2, and we'll just go ahead and download the scripts, and we'll go ahead and save that to our downloads. We're going to show in the folder, and make it nice and big. So we already use archive 1. We'll go ahead and delete those because we already got those. I'm going to right click and extract all. Click extract. And there we go. So now we have our AJAX, our config, and our processor here. Now, the only thing now is I can't be dragging and dropping these things into the new folder because of the fact that on our XAMPP server right now, we already have those exact same things labeled. So what I'm going to have to do is come here to my htdocs, inventory. You see, we already have a processor file. We already have a config file. So what I need to do is compare these two side by side. The processor, I need to take the information out of this processor. I just double clicked it and brought it up on my notepad. Now notice all this information here in this processor file. I'm just going to close the config file. We're not going to need that. But if you look at this particular thing, you know, starts out with that session start. This one does not have session start. We're going to need that. So we're going to grab this session start on a processor. Then that way it'll bring all the session variables whenever someone's logged in. It stores. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to come down here. We're already including the config file. But now we want to come down and grab all this. Actually, let me show you an easier way. You can have more than one processor file. You just got to label it different. Okay? So let me go ahead and hit Control Z. Whoop. I want to redo that. Save that. We'll close out this processor file. And we have this one, and we'll just go ahead and File, Save As. And we're going to call it Processor 2. We'll go to our XAMPP server, htdocs, inventory, and there's the processor file. This will be processor 2. Okay? So that makes things a little bit easier. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get into talking to you guys about, you know, the if is set. But we'll get into that in a little bit. All right, so here's processor 2, and what we want to do is go grab the archive for the AJAX, and we can actually just take this because we don't have an AJAX file in here yet. Let's just take that AJAX file, shove it over there. There we go. And if we open AJAX, you could see it's bringing in the jQuery just like the index file is. But maybe instead of AJAX, we could give this the name of login. Okay, what about that? So click File, Save As, Login, and then .php, of course. There you go. And so that means that this AJAX file is no longer needed. So we could delete that, get that out of there. And so here we see in this process, this login file, let's go ahead and bring up inventory login.php. Here we're going to put in our username and a password. And let me go ahead and bring up this login. It's going to take the input ID of username, stored in an ID of username, and then the password is going to go into pass, and it's going to come down here. It's going to take that username. Now we know that our username, we want to use the email. Okay, so we want people to put their email as their username. Their password would just be their password. So we're taking these variables whenever they click the submit button. When they click it, it's going to go down here, take their username, stored in a variable called uname, take their password, stored in a variable called pass, and here we take these variables, store them in these JavaScript variables into this data string. Okay, once again, if they're empty, we're going to target this display div up here and tell them please fill out the fields. And that's going to post to processor 2, because that's exactly where we want it to go. And then it's going to do all this other stuff. Take that data, go to processor 2, and it'll display the information. Now, the important thing is we go to processor 2 and make sure, okay, so the username and the password, they're all sanitized. And the next thing we're going to do is do a query. We're going to select all from users where username is name clean. Okay, that variable name clean. So we want this to be email, where email is name clean. Okay, and if it finds a user with that email, if it doesn't find one, we're going to echo out that user is not in our system. Else, that means if it is, it's going to say, yes, we have a match, and the email is blah, email. And then we're going to go ahead and use this password verify function from the pass clean, the password that they entered, and we're going to set the session ID variable, okay, and that's going to be stored on this application. And then we'll just go ahead and echo out the session ID here. And then if the password's wrong, we'll use this else and echo out wrong password. And finally, we're going to go ahead and close the database connection. So let's go ahead and see if that works, all right? So log in, username will be max at a1websitepro.com, the password abc123. We'll go ahead and click login. Login. All right, so let's go ahead and inspect, see what's going wrong here. Go to our console. Oh, we got mixed content once again. So once again on the login page, we got to go to the top, and we have to put in the S for Google App List. And then we'll refresh this page. Enter my email again. And ABC123, hit login. Ah, yes. Okay, so we have a match. The user is Maximus in your session ID. So now we have the login script, people. Isn't that amazing? Okay. We have the login script, but hey, it's still not done here. So let's go ahead and go back. What if the person forgets their password? Oh, my word. I forgot my password. And they have to reset. Well, in order for you to, be a, what do I want to say, efficient programmer, I have this lost password script for AJAX, jQuery, PHP, and MySQL. And you notice these are all pretty much related. I mean, we had to change the database thing in there once because I'm going to use the email as a username to keep it simple. But a lot of this stuff is just, it's the same. And I like to keep it that way. So, if you want to come use these scripts. So let's go ahead and download all the scripts from this tutorial. Lost password script. We'll hit save. Let's go ahead and open this folder up, or show in folder actually. Make it nice and big. We want to extract all. Extract all these files, Mr. Computer. Thank you very much. Okay, and there's our lost password script. Now, I should have our SHAMP server open up here somewhere. Yeah, there's our inventory. Now let's go ahead and look at this. Oh, hell. Even on this one, I included a data file. And these are kind of nice. I could see here that I have all the information, ID, username, email, password. Oh, and reg date instead of timestamp. So maybe that's what I should have named it in the program. Oh well. So here's some interesting stuff. So this index should become maybe a lost password type of a thing. Let's go ahead and look at it real quick. Here you can see I'm using Bootstrap with jQuery, and I kind of would like to do that anyway. So let's go ahead and do something that's going to make our jobs a lot easier. Okay, we're going to create a header and a footer, and the header we're going to have rely on, bringing scripts in, like our Bootstrap CSS files, our jQuery, and whatever the hell else we want. So I'm going to come over here and right click, select new file, header.php. All right, and here's our header.php. What I'm going to do is bring up that lost password, and in the index.php, everything above the let's go ahead and just do from the container up. I just want to grab all this stuff and put it in the header. Okay, and I'm just going to hit save. And if you look at the index.php that we got kicking here, except for the errors, everything is pretty much the same. We have this jQuery coming in, and if we look at our header that we just created for ourselves, yep, here's our jQuery coming in. And so what we want to do in this index, everything above body, let's see, make sure that we have the doc type in there because that's just proper stuff. Yep, we got that in there. The language is English. Oh, pretty good download there. And then right here, I'm just going to put a PHP tag and put include underscore once, and then in parentheses, header.php, just like so. And then put my semicolon, just like that. And let's go ahead and go to our index page and just look at it. Let's just look at it. Index.php. There we go. Now we see this getting some type of, formality to it. Looking so cute. Let's go ahead and let's try to copy, what's going on here. You notice here how we have this div class form group. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's get in on that action, shall we? Let's get in on that Bootstrap, because this div class right here, form group, that's Bootstrap. Okay. So I'm just going to grab that and put that right above our form, and then underneath of our form, I'm going to close out that div tag real quick. All right, now hit save. Let's take a look what she's done. Pretty much the same thing, right? Okay, let's go ahead and bring up let's look at our index page again. Here's the label for email. Copy. We'll get our labels going here. So div class, email, we'll just call this instead of name, we want this just to be the name instead of a username. That'll confuse people, right? So, and we'll call this name. And let's go to the next one, make another label. Just paste that in there. Email, it's email, that's good. And label for password. And we'll password, just like so. All right, so let's go ahead and refresh this up. There we go. Now we got labels. Labels, placeholders, no confusion there, right? Okay, let's go ahead and see what next we can do here. And this next one's pretty cool. You put the class of form control in each one of those input fields. Watch what it does to it. It makes it look so nice. So nice, it's so nice. Yeah. So here's the input field. Let's go ahead and it already has an ID. Let's give it a class of form control. Let's do the same thing to the email. Class of form control. Put a little spacage there. Right here, class form control. We'll go ahead and hit save. Let's go back, refresh. Ooh, look at that. Now we got a vertical layout. Isn't that cute? So cute. So cute. It's so cute. Okay. Oh, now here we have, look, notice the button. Yeah. That looks to me a lot better than the input type of submit. Kind of like the button tag. I don't know why. I'm just partial to it. But still has the idea of submit. So let me just paste that right down below there. Notice that has this class of button default. And let's go ahead and take this top one out of here. Hit save. And instead of reset password here, we just need to have submit, right? So I'm taking this code and hacking the hell out of it. So let's go ahead and now look at that nice little round button. You hover over it there. So yeah, we're getting here. We're getting there. So this is for a sign up. I guess we should have at the top here, sign up. So let's go ahead and well, the other thing too that I want to get in here is the form tag. I didn't do it in this one because you didn't really need it, but it's just a lot better if you have a form tag, I think. So let's go ahead right above here, form, and then form tag up there, and below the button we'll close out the form. Good. There we go. And let's go after here, right after the header. Now you notice the header, the last thing in the header.php, we have this div class of container. But we didn't close out this div, did we? So why don't we make a footer to close out this div container? So let's go ahead and right click, new file. Let's type in footer.php. Okay, and we will close out that div tag. And let's go ahead and close out the body tag too. And how about the HTML tag? Let's just go ahead and close all those out. See if we have anything else that we're forgetting in the footer to close out. Nope, just the body, HTML, and that div tag. You know what we could do down here? Instead of having the body and HTML close out, we could just go like this. PHP include once. And we'll just put footer. .php just like that. How about just like that? All right, let me hit save. Now let's go look at our pretty little script. I can hit F5 on my keyboard. And there we go. And if we right click and view page source, we could see that we still have our closeout. We're closing out that div tag at the top there. All right. Now let's go to the top here and let's put an H1 tag in there. And let's do this sign up here. So let's do H1. Inventory sign up page. Save. Bring this up. Hit F5 on the keyboard. There we go. Oh my God, doesn't that look so professional? Nice and simple. Very clear cut. Okay, let's sign up somebody else. Let's sign up my sweet Mary. Mary at a1websitepro.com. ABC123. Hit submit. Oh, look, Mary signed up now. Isn't that nice? Okay, there we go. Now let's go ahead and see if Mary is in the users. Oh, there she is. There's my girl. Okay. Okay, let's think about what we got to do now. I know what we got to do next. We have to create a menu to go across the top, right? That will be a good idea. and just have it be like the same on every page. So let's go to A1 Website Pro, and I think I have one for menus here. So anyway, if you search up a menu on A1 Website Pro, if you go to page 2 under this Bootstrap Nav menu for WordPress, I designed one for WordPress because of it's a little bit more complicated for that. But this is what you need right here. I'm just going to grab this whole nav menu. Come on. Right click, copy, and we're going to bring up our Notepad++, and we're going to create another file. We'll just call this menu.php, just like so. And I'm just going to paste that in there. And the reason why I'm using this menu thing is it's already have all the div classes and everything. All we have to do is go in here and edit these links. Okay, let me just go ahead and hit save. We'll go back to our index file, and right here above the H1 tag, we're going to go ahead and just duplicate this header, but Control D on the keyboard, and we'll type in menu just like so. And let's go ahead and see what that's going to look like on our password script. I'll hit F5 to refresh the page, and see now here we have a link. This is a drop down, and yeah, I think we're going to put a search in here too, because people are going to have to search for their stuff. So that's going to come a little bit later, but we'll just go ahead and leave that up there. And here we can actually create a logo. Maybe I'll do that off video, and we'll put it up there. But let's go ahead and edit our start editing our menu.php so we can navigate to things a little bit faster. Okay, so the first one, let's see here. We're not really going to need this active class, but we'll just call this index.php, and we'll name that link as home. Okay, so then people could just go home. And then so if we hit save, go and refresh this page, now we have home there. Okay, I know I capitalized the O on home for all you picky people. All right, we'll go into the login.php link and log in. Yeah, maybe we could change these around later if we want to. So we have the login. So here's our login. And we see that our login doesn't have our menu. It's not nicely populated like this. So let's go ahead and edit our login page so it looks more like our index page. So our index page is like this. And you know what? Since we have the header in here, why don't we just go ahead and take this PHP script and put it in the header. We'll go ahead and save that. Let's go to the header, so if there's any errors or anything, they'll pop out for us, okay? And let's go to our login page. And let's see here. We have our session start up there, but do we have session start and header? No, we don't. But we could put it in there. Put it in there. No biggie. No biggie. We can do it. We can do it. Just hold on. I'm getting to it. All right. So go over here to the login page, and I'm going to grab this session start, copy, and go to our header, because it's not going to hurt. It just has to be. It has to be the very first thing. The session start always has to be the very first thing up there. Okay. Because if it's not the first thing, then it won't work right. Okay. So we have session start up there. Let's go back to our login page. Everything else, we're going to take everything in here, put our PHP tag, include once, in quotes, single quotes, header.php, do. And there we go. Now in the bottom here, instead of having the HTML body, we will include our footer. And we'll include that once. And in case you guys were wondering, I just have my Notepad++ to automatically put the other tags. Might help if I spell include once properly. Once. No, just once. Hit save. Let's look at our login page. Oh, we have some errors. Okay, well, the only error is I'm being stupid because my header.php has this closing tag here by session start, and I need to get rid of that. Okay, so let me hit F5 to refresh it. There, it's gone. All right, now it still doesn't look like our index page yet because we need to bring in some of the bootstrap stuff. So let's go ahead and bring in some of our bootstrap magic that we have on the index page. Well, in fact, why don't we just grab everything from here up, copy, go to our login page, and we'll just paste it in there like so. So our header page already has all our scripts, our session start. We already have our menu there. And instead of the inventory sign-up page, this will be the inventory log in page, right? And then we got our form opening tag. We need to put the form closing tag like so. And this div class of form group, we should be closing that. Oh, let's see here. How do we do it in this particular one? Div class of form group, we just closed it out after the submit button. I guess we can follow the same thing, but I think what happens, a lot of times people will close it out after each input field, but we're not going to do that. We'll just follow the suit right here. So right before the closing form tag, we'll put that div just like so. Let's go ahead and refresh this page. Oh, there we go. Starting to look a lot better. Got our menu in there, inventory login page. Let's go ahead and get our other stuff that we need from the index page. These div class of form control. We actually don't need these labels, but let's go ahead and get our classes in. All right. There we go. Email, password. It looks like we did bring in a label called name, so, well, we may as well finish that up, shall we? Label for email. Email. Copy. And let's make another label right here. Whoops. For password. Password. Okay. Hit save. Go here. F5, refresh. There we go. Ooh, looking pretty snazzy, aren't we? Snazzy. Okay, so now see how this home button is a little bit darker and a login. That's actually supposed to get dark, but we're not going to deal with that right now. So I'm just going to go up to our menu, and I'm going to take off this active class that we have on here. I could show you guys how to do that later, but I'm just going to hit save, refresh. So we're at the inventory sign up page, and then login page. So the sign up might change. It might become something different. In fact, we could actually put it over here. In fact, why don't we do that? So if I bring up my page here, this little link, index.html, we'll just go to this last link that we have here, index.php, and we'll just put sign up, because eventually the index page will be the sign up page, because see right there, and then the login page, or who knows, we might put it in one of these drop downs. But that's what we'll do there. But you know where to go to get this stuff anyway. Now we need actually a lost password, right? Because if somebody gets on here and they're like, oh, what's my password? What's the first thing they do? They look for that lost password. And people have to keep resetting their passwords because they can't remember it. So that is a necessary step to take in for the inventory. So let's go ahead and go to our programming, AJAX. Well, we already downloaded the lost password script, and let's go ahead and see what we're going to need next in our programming. So let's see what we're going to grab out of this lost password script. There's our inventory folder, and here's our lost password script. Okay, so we already hijacked a lot of the index. We don't need the config file. We do need lost password and lost password processor. So let's go ahead and grab both of these, lost password and lost password processor, because we don't have anything named that, so it's not like it's going to overwrite it. The only thing I'm concerned about is this processor. We might have to do like processor 3 on that. But let me go ahead, grab that, bring that into our program, and we'll go ahead and copy those two files. Let me bring those back up again. And in this processor, we'll just rename this to processor 3 to keep it simple. And we'll bring that in there too. Click yes. And I believe that we already have the index here for it. Yep, lost password script. And we need everything. Let's see. First of all, we'll just go ahead and go File, Save As, and we'll call this one lostpass.php, and we'll navigate to our XAMPP server once again in the inventory, OHT docs. Excuse me. Come down here to inventory, lostpass.php. So there we go. Presto. Now in this lostpass.php, we should be able to just include our header from the body container up. So let me just go to the index file, and we have our header, we got our menu. So let's just go ahead and grab these two things, copy them, and then our lost pass will come down here to the container tag where we have our header, and we'll just paste in our header and our menu. And then at the footer, of course, we'll just do our PHP include underscore once footer.php. Okay. We'll close that out. Now in our footer.php, we're not closing out the connection to the database. So let me go ahead and close that out. In fact, I'll just go to the, well, where's one of the processors? All the processors should have that connection closed down there. It's good to close it out on every page, so we just want to get it in there. Okay. Now let's go back to our lost pass here. We got our include footer, and this URL, it has to go to processor 3 because this is our lost pass.php. And then in our menu, we can update all of our menus by, actually we could just duplicate this and put lost pass.php and lost password, just like so. And let's see what that looks like. So we'll go home, and there's our lost password. Okay, it looks like, so since we didn't open I'm going to take that out of the footer because we're closing it and it wasn't open in the first place, because pretty much all our database connections right now are in the processor files. So for right now, I'm just going to remove it. We might put it back in later. So let me go to the footer and just take this out. But here we could see we have our lost password script. Looks like we have a syntax error on line 28 in lost pass. So let's go ahead and go here to lost pass on line 28. Include once footer.php, and here I forgot my closing tag on the PHP. Let me go ahead and hit F5, refresh, and there we go. So here, this all starts with the person's email, and if they're trying to enter an email or a username, this will reset their password. It'll send them an email. But let's go over how that works. Okay. So in the lost pass, they're going to enter in the email, and then they're going to click reset password. Whenever they click the button submit, it's going to look for that click function after the document's ready, and then it's going to store their email in a variable called EM. EM is going to be stored as EM1 in the data string. It's going to post to processor 3, which we already changed. It's going to take that data string, and then it's going to go there, do its thing, and then it's going to display an HTML result. But what HTML result is it going to display? Now I'm going to go ahead and close everything except this one, because we're getting a lot of tabs up there. And we're going to bring up processor 3 here to see what it's doing. So here we have it connecting to the database. It's going to take that EM1 post variable, store it in a variable called email, and it's going to sanitize it, clean it, and then store it in a variable called email clean. And it's going to select all from users where email equals email clean. Limit 1. So there should only be 1. Now we're going to get the total number of rows, and if the total number of rows is less than 1, we're going to echo alert, warning, are you sure you entered the correct email? So basically we're going to test this right now, and we're going to put in a wrong email to see if this processor is working. So let's go ahead and put in something like max@a1sold.com, hit reset password. And notice we get this little alert. Are you sure you entered the correct email? And we see that that is indeed working. Okay. Now it's going to have the script die. That means it's not going to execute anything else below die. Okay. Because scripts read from top to bottom, left to right. Now, if the total is 1, then it's going to go into a while loop. And it's going to fetch the association. It's going to grab the email, and it's going to grab the password. Now, this is what's going to happen. We're going to email this form to the person who lost their password, and the subject is going to be password reset link in the email. The headers are going to be MIME version 1.0. The content type is HTML UTF-8. And here you can put no reply at yourwebsite.com. Now these are the headers. You would want to replace this with whatever website you're on. We're going to have ours probably be a1websitepro.com. I might put it on there. I might not. We'll just see what happens. Or, you know what, I might just put it on a1sold.com because I've been looking for something to do with that URL. And here we're taking a table, we're putting a table in there, and that's why we have to use the text HTML content type with a character set of UTF-8. And in this table, it's going to have the reset password link by clicking the link below. And here we have another table row, and in this table column it says, if you did not make this request, ignore this email. Okay. And the next column, it's going to have the link to reset the password. Okay. And then you hit reset password. Now, for all intents and purposes, what we're going to do here, instead of having this send an email out, see this line here would send the email out. We're just going to echo this whole message thing out here. So let's just go ahead. You're going to get this alert whenever the email sends to the person that an email has been sent to your email with the password reset link. But what we want to do is we just want to echo it out here because we don't want to deal with emailing from the local host. So I'm just put echo message. Okay. So whenever they come back, I have to change this to site.test. Let me go ahead and put HTTPS. And right here, it has to be site.test because that's my local server. This needs to be inventory, just like that. And then lostpassword.php. Notice the question mark and the P equals whatever their password was. And then this is going to be a link to reset password. So let me show you how that works, okay? So if we're here and we know that Max at A1websitepro.com is actually entered into the database. So I'll click reset password. This is a picture of the email. Okay, now notice there's a little alert that the email has been reset. Now, if you do not make this request, ignore the email below. And then there's this little link to reset the password. And if you notice down below, there's a hashtag. So whenever I click this, what's going to happen? Well, let me go ahead and click it first. And I'm going to open it in a new tab. Like they get that. And so now they have the opportunity to enter their new password with this hash on. So let me show you what I did. So that nobody can just guess somebody's password. This is all a hash up here. Where did that come from? Well, it came from their old password. Notice their old password hash. Okay. See that? This is the password for Max at A1 Website Pro, all hashed up. And we know that that is equal to ABC123. Okay, ABC123. Now we have the opportunity to change the new password. But notice this lostpassword.php. What's going on in there? Well, let's go ahead and look at it. Lostpassword.php. Let's load this up. Okay, so we're including the config file. The old p, the variable of old p, get p. So we're taking this from, let me show you, right here. Okay, if you know about get variables, we have the p, and we're getting this hash, and we're bringing it into this script. We're bringing it into the script there. Okay, and we're storing that in a variable called old p. Okay, now it doesn't matter that's on this line. It could be on this line. Don't matter. We have a meta character set of UTF-8, meta type viewport. This all has to do with like if people were on cell phones, stuff like that. And we're going to change this with our header. Okay, our header.php. Now let's go down here into the body. So what happens is we're going to make a query in the database. We're going to select all from users where password equals the old p. That's where you're getting that hash, limit 1. And then we're going to get the number of rows, see the total. If there's any more than one row, we're going to give a warning. Is it not a wonderful day? And people are not even, that's so. If people are here, and let me just go ahead and grab this URL, bring up a new tab. if people are here trying to guess somebody's password, notice what they're going to do. Let's add XXX on the end. Look, is it not a wonderful day? See, that way they can't hack somebody's password. See what I'm saying? Okay. So that's the logic behind that. Okay. So now that they got the link and they're able to, it starts to enter this while loop so that they can change their password. We're going to go get their email from the row of email, okay? Because we're not grabbing it from the browser. Like there's nothing here saying that their email is, excuse me, there's nothing here that's telling you what the email address is, okay? And because we don't want people just to know what the email address, because if they can decipher this and then the email address, they could get into the person's account. But they're not going to decipher this. But that's just added security, right? So we go here and we start doing the form group, and we have the label so that they can enter in a new password. Now the input type, notice this hidden put is email. The value is email. That's we're getting that from this particular row, because we want to change the username, or we want to change a password with the username of email. Okay, so because remember, we're using emails as usernames. And then once they hit submit, or once they hit change password, it's going to bring up this, it's going to start this document ready script, this jQuery, and it's going to go to the last word password processor, okay? Lost password processor. And so if we look at the lost password processor script, it's pretty simple. It does the escape strings. It sanitizes the password. It makes the password hash. Blah blah blah. We're going to grab their email from that particular. Because let me show you something else. If you right click, view page source, okay, we can see that the email is actually in a hidden variable. Okay, so that email is in there. We're getting it from this hashtag. Okay. But people aren't just going to see it, unless they have coding tools. So we're going to sanitize the email. We're going to update. We're going to make a query and update user set password to the new hashed password where the email matches email clean. And then we're going to give an alert of success. All right. Then we're going to close the database connection. So instead of ABC 1 2 3, we'll go 1 2 3 ABC, and I'll hit change password. Okay, so now your password was changed. Log in here. All right. So okay, this login here. Of course, this is the wrong link. So we need to change that. Your password is changed. Log in here. And we need to type login.php. All right. And then that will work. All right. Now, the other thing that we have going on here is we have no menu going across the top or anything like that. And whenever you're dealing with, this kind of lost password, sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't. I say we put it in there. So what I'm going to do is this lost password script. Let me see here. What did we change on this? What we need to do is put in the header up here. But we're definitely going to need this to get the P, all right? So this is going to be included separately. So let me see in the header. Are we including the config file? No, we're not including that at all. So we're going to need to include the config file in this lost password.php. So let us do this. We're going to grab this information right here. And we're going to put it down here below the container. And then everything from the container up, we should be good to go with putting in the, the regular header and so on and so forth. So let's grab that and paste it in there. Save, and then let's come down here. Include once, footer.php. All right, there we go. So let's just make sure that the lost password script is working. Now this should just say, have a wonderful day. Is it not a wonderful day? There you go. So here we have our menu going across. If I click log in, put my Max at A1 Website Pro, I should already be logged in. ABC 1 2 3. Yes, we have a match. And the email is okay. So yeah. Oh, I got the wrong password. So I should say 1 2 3 ABC, right? There we go. My session ID is 1. So I'm logged in there. So now we have the sign up page, we have the login page, and we have the lost password page, and we have all the scripts that go with them. Now, wouldn't it be nice that when you are logged in, it says something maybe up here where it says brand is Hi Maximus or Hi Mary or whatever. So let's talk about how we can just do that. Let the person know that they're logged in, because by looking at this page, or maybe when they're logged in, they don't even see the sign up page, So let's go into that feature. Okay, so there's been a minor update with the session variables, and let's go ahead and see where our sessions are. Okay, see in this session start, now this will indeed get you by, but there's a better way to do it. And it's this: if session status is equal to PHP session none, then we will go ahead and start the session. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that in there. And all these scripts will be on A1 Website Pro as usual. Link in the description of the video. And then this is going to be a long one, but so if the session status is PHP session none, then we're going to start the session. Otherwise, I'm not going to do nothing. Okay, so that means that the session will be always in session. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and put our error reporting above. No. We need sessions to be the very first start. So those are in the right place. Now, what we want to do is whenever a person logs in, okay, so if we go to the login, they're going to this processor 2, and so let's go bring up processor 2 here, and so here there's a session ID variable. So the session ID, if the session ID is 0, we will we'll hide some stuff and let them know, hey, blah blah blah, you're not logged in. And then we'll show that form, the sign up form. However, if they are logged in, we won't show them the sign up form. Okay, and maybe we'll even hide the login link. Okay, so we should hide the inventory sign up page and the login page, because if they're already logged in, doesn't that make sense? Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we're in the header.php. I'm going to insert a little bit of code here. And this is where we're going to check and see if the session ID is set, because notice here on processor 2, the session ID, as soon as they log in, we set a session ID. Okay, and we grab that from their row ID. And we could use this throughout their time on the inventory, okay? Especially whenever we're going into site test and they're entering merchandise, And this, when you look at the structure, the user, that's going to be their ID number. Okay. So what we want to do here is, let me go back to the header. If this session ID is start, we can, maybe have their name. So let's go ahead and we'll do a MySQL query right here and put in their name. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to grab the session ID from the program in their browser. We're going to store that in a variable called UID, short for user identification. Then we're going to query the database. We're going to select all from users where ID equals the user ID. And we're going to go into our while loop, fetch the association, and get their name. Okay? And that way, whenever we have their name, we can put it in the menu, right? Right at the top there, where we're talking about, where it has brand, we'll just put their name there. How about that? Wouldn't that be so cool? Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the variable of name, copy, and let's go open up our menu. And let's go up here where it has the brand. Let's see. Where is the brand at? There we go. And then right in here, we're just going to put a PHP tag, echo, the name, put our terminator on, just like so. And so if they're logged in, we should be able to see their name. Oh, undefined variable on line 10. So what we do wrong here? On header, line 10. Okay, so the problem there is there's no variable in that particular script. So I have to create a function in order to put it in. So let me show you how to do that. Rather, instead of that, so the undefined variable is name on line 10. We already know that that's name. And the reason why is we're not including the config file. So in the header, what we want to do, let's see here. Before it makes the query, what we should do right here is include once config.php, and hopefully that will solve our issue so we don't have to deal with functions just yet. We will get into it though. So let me go ahead and refresh this page, and there's the name, Maximus. Okay, so let's if somebody put their name all in lowercase, maybe we want that first name to be uppercase. So let's do that. Let's bring up our Notepad++. And in this this name thing here, and since we want them all to be uppercase, let's just go ahead and do it right here. String to upper, and we got to include that in parentheses, and that'll make the name be uppercase. So let's just go ahead and save that, and we will go ahead and refresh this page, and now notice it's all in uppercase. And we'll link that maybe to the index page later. Right now it's linked to the login page. But let's go ahead and let's just do it right now. Why not? Let's go ahead and link to the index.php page in the menu. Index.php. And the index.php is just going to be like an information, what this is all about, so on and so forth. It's about, keeping track of your inventory at home. Pretty much. Because we know how things get lost and you're looking through the house for things. So that's the whole idea behind this programming. So that being said, let's go ahead. We'll save this index page as the sign up page. And so let me go ahead and go to the index page, and we'll load it up here. And I'm going to close everything except the index page. And we're going to go File, Save As. We'll go sign up.php. Okay. And there we go. So now it's the sign up page. But if we go back to the index page, We don't have to have all this stuff. Basically, we could take it all out because we just duplicated it. So let's go ahead and take all this out, and we'll put inventory, and then we'll maybe have a P tag with a little description. Create account to keep track of your home inventory. Okay, we'll just save that. And now when we go to the index page, voila, we can see Maximus is signed in. When Maximus is signed in, he doesn't need to see the login page or the lost password page. So maybe we can put these in a little bit better position on this menu. And so let's go ahead and bring up the menu so it makes a little bit more sense. Okay. So if we go down here, we already have the name up there. Here we have the index page is home, and that's fine. The login page, and let's see, where else do we have a page down the road here? Okay, here's the sign up page. So let's go ahead and grab this one here. And we'll go ahead and put it up here. And now we have a sign up page. So we need to get that to go signup.php. Now these two things do not need to be showing when a person is logged in. So how can we handle that? Well, we can actually put a class on there of, class equals hide. I'm just going to put two E's on there. Copy. Put a class of hide on sign up. And for that to take place, what we want to do is go to our let's see here. Let's go to our header.php, and in this, if this session ID this is set, then we can actually just do a style tag, echo, and let's go ahead and put our single quotes, style, and we'll go ahead and let's put our terminator on there so we don't forget. Target the class of hide, and we'll just put in here a display none, so that when they're logged in, they're not seeing the login again or anything like that. But actually down here, else, in the else statement, if the session of ID is not set, we'll display a block. How about that? Okay, so let's go ahead and see how that works out for us. First of all, we'll refresh. You can see that I'm logged in here. Let's go to home. It's still sign up. Okay, let's see here. Go to login. Max at a1websitepro.com. 123 ABC. All right, so I'm logged in. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Okay, here's what we're going to do. Instead of putting this here, let's take this out there, take this out here. We're going to go to the footer.php, and let's put it in here. So we're going to see if the session of ID is set. If it is, we're going to change this to an ID instead of a class. A class wasn't working, and we're going to hit display none. We're going to style it as display none. And If it's not set, we're going to display block. So let's go ahead and save that. And let's see here. Let's go. Now it's being hidden. It's hidden, okay? But now something that we should have on here is log out, right? So that would be session destroy. We should have a link saying log out. Now, lost password should not be there either. So let's go ahead and let's give an ID of hide to the lost password. Right there. Let's go ahead and give this ID equals HIDE. Okay, hit save. Go back here. Let's see if it refresh. All right, lost password. Now what we do need to see is the log out. So let's bring up our Notepad++ and create a logout script. Okay. In fact, let's just go to our index and we'll go File, Save As. We'll call this logout.php, just like so. And in here, what we'll do is we'll say log out. You have been logged out. You have been logged out. And we should probably put another, let's just go ahead and put session destroy up here in the PHP tag. And then they should go ahead and see the regular menu. Let's go to the menu and create that log out. And let's just duplicate this. We'll put log out right there. And this definitely doesn't need a class of hide. We'll put a class of, I don't know, show, or an ID of show. And let's go ahead and save that. Oh, let's go ahead and log out.php. Oops. Let's go here. And let's refresh, see if we see the log out. There it is. Let's click log out. You have been logged out. And it has not refreshed to show the logins. Okay, so what are we doing wrong here? Hold on. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there it is. So PHP starts with a question mark, not a slash. So let's go ahead and save that. And let me click log out again. And session destroy, trying to destroy utilize session. On line 1 on log out. So let's go ahead and see what that's. Session destroy. Uninitialized. Okay, so I think it's because I need to call in session destroy after session start, and we know that session start is in the header. So let's just put that right there, hit save, and let's go back here and try to log out again. Let's go to home first, and then log out. You have been logged out, and it's still showing me. Now we have the undefined variable. We still now we're seeing the login. So actually, whenever you click log out, you should probably refresh the page. But since this undefined variable in the menu of 11 is name, we have to see if that's set. So, and if it's not set, name has to equal something else. So let's go back to our footer. So, or actually, I believe it's in right here. So if is set that session ID. Then we're going to grab the name from the UID. Else we're going to have name equal nothing. All right. Hopefully that'll take care of our problem. So let's go ahead and hit F5 refresh. There we go. All right. Now we have the login sign up. So I hope you noticed what happened there. I put the session destroy on top of session start, and that wasn't working out on that page because of the logic. Now, the other thing here, we have log out showing, and that shouldn't show because there's nothing to log out to. Okay. So what we want to do is hide log out, and I targeted that with an ID of show. So if we go back to our footer and we go into style tag, and let's just go ahead and drop it down a line, and that way it's a little bit easier to see. We're going to duplicate this, and this is be show, and we'll display block on that, and then obviously down here in this, within this style tag, we're going to say show display none. Okay, because they shouldn't see that. They shouldn't see a log out when they're already logged out, right? So and it disappears. There you go. So let's go ahead and log back in. Max at a1websitepro.com. 123 ABC, I think. Click login. All right, so now I'm logged in. Now the only other thing is, whenever I'm logged in here, you notice it shows that that we're logged in, but at this particular time, since we're using AJAX to bring it in, we kind of want to refresh the page so that sign up and login disappear. So let's do that. So for this little thing, I'm going to try to use jQuery to reload the page, and we'll put this in echo S script, close the script tag, and then put my terminator on the end. And we're just going to say location reload. And you know what? I'm going to do the same thing down here, so that when we log in and log out, it's going to reload the page. Now, the only thing is that might reload on every page, so that might not be the best solution for our problem here. So let me go ahead and try this here. Let me go ahead and click login. Actually, I should put that script in the processor.php page, because that brings it over right here dynamically in AJAX. So yeah, let's do that. So let me grab this script, copy. We'll take it out of the footer here, because I don't want it reloaded on every page. I only want to reload whenever they log out and log in, right? So let's go to processor. This is your encrypted password, and I'm going to, I should have just grabbed the whole damn thing. Oh well. Echo script reload. So we want to copy this, save, and then let's put it in processor 2 as well. I shouldn't put it in if they get the wrong password. The session ID, yeah, we'll put it in right here, where it shows the ID and everything. So let's go ahead and do that. Click login. See how it reloaded the page now and everything's working, and I have our log out. So let me click log out. You have been logged out. It did not refresh the page. Oh, I had to click it twice. So let me go ahead and log back in again. Max at a1websitepro.com, and then password 123 ABC. Click login. It should refresh, and it does. Now the problem is, whenever I go to log out, it doesn't refresh the page. So let's see what's going on there. Okay, So, okay, so I have it in process. Okay, processor is the sign up page, right? So I got to take it out of there, and I got it in processor 2. I need to put it in processor 3. No, processor 3 is the password reset link. Processor 2 shows that, and then the log out. Let's see. That's where we need to put it. So let's just go ahead and put it in right here, and we actually don't need the echo tags. And that was the issue. Okay, so let's go ahead and click log out again, and then all the menu changes again, and we click home, log in. Notice how it just keeps reloading the page and reloading the page. So that's not cool, is it? So that's not a good way to do it. So let's modify our reload and our logout. Inside the script, we're gonna insert a little bit of a jQuery here. So if the window load function, we're just gonna reload it just one time. Okay. We're gonna check to see if it's been reloaded. If it's already been reloaded, we're not gonna do it again. Let me click save, and let's go ahead and try out that. So let's go ahead and log in. Exit A1 Website Pro, 1, 2, 3, ABC. Click login. There we are. We're logged in. We should probably hide the inventory login page once this happens. But let's go ahead and click the log out. See if it's not, the page isn't reloading over and over again. But it is showing my name for some reason. I have to click it twice to get it done showing my name. I don't like that. Okay, I just did a little bit of editing here. Let's show you. I'll log in, Max A1 Website Pro, and then I'll go with 1, 2, 3, ABC. Hit login. As my name comes up, log out. Inventory login page still here, but we can deal with that. But notice when I log out now, my name disappears, and it's like that. So here's what I did. I went and I jacked a code off this other website here using jQuery. And basically what this is doing is that it's just reloading the whole page after it loads the jQuery, which is good for me. So I could take all this stuff, all these comment lines out of here, because it works. So location reload, and that's what we're doing on the log out page. So let's work on, now that we got that, let's work on whenever after we're logged out here, and when we log in. Let me just go ahead and log in. 1, 2, 3, ABC. That this inventory login page form disappears. And so in order to do that, what we could do is, in this login page, is we could give this form an ID of hide. So then that way, it'll just hide the form whenever the person is logged in. So let's just go ahead and do that, because we already made that happen earlier. So let me click log out, click log back in. 1, 2, 3, ABC. Log in, and there we go, with the inventory login page. And maybe it should say something else whenever you're logged in, or maybe even take you to another page, like a dashboard or something like that, so that after you log in, it's going to take you to a different page. So maybe we'll do that in the next part. Tell you the next thing we'll do is we'll give this H1 tag that same ID, so that when you log in, you don't see it either. How about that? And we already have the show, so we can actually just duplicate this and put this one to be show, and this shows when people are logged in. this hides when people are logged in. So let's on show. Let's go to your inventory page to get started, and we'll just save that. And we're just going to do this for now. I think what will happen here is log out. Let's log back in. 1, 2, 3, ABC. Click log in. Then you see go to your inventory page to get started. So basically, what we might end up doing here is just like redirecting them to the inventory page. So why don't we just start creating the inventory page, and we'll decide on what to do about that later. So let's go ahead and we don't have to start all over. Let's maybe bring up the index page once again, and we'll close everything except the index page. We'll go to File, Save As, inventory.php. Great. .php, save. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that to the menu. And this should be on, this should have the ID of show. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. And we'll give this the ID of show. And we'll hit save there. And let's go ahead and check this out. Home. Okay, so I'm logged in, inventory showing. And it's actually the same as the index page. And we'll just go ahead and click log out, and it disappears. And so that's good. That's exactly the way we want things to happen here. All right. And inventory. Now let's go ahead and start messing with this inventory page and how we're going to make that look. But I think before we mess with this inventory page, we have to have enter inventory. So so that'll populate the database. So let's just go this inventory, and we'll click File, Save As, and we'll call this enter inventory. .php, and this will be the form page where everybody's entering information in their inventory, and then that'll build up the inventory page, so then that way they can go quickly to it and do whatever they need to it. Okay, so let's change this to enter inventory, and basically we're going to do the whole form thing. So I'm just going to grab the form from maybe the login page. We'll just go ahead and grab this whole form and the processing script, and we'll just bring it in here so we don't have to rewrite everything. Okay, and we don't need a form of hide. We need the form of show, okay? Because we want to show this to the people. If somehow they stumble on this page, I mean, we'll mess with this in the header later, but if somebody stumbles on this page and they're not logged in, they're not going to be able to enter anything anyway. So there's no sense in showing it to them. But if we bring up our, let's bring up our notepad here. And these are the things that we're entering. The ID, of course, is automatic. The user ID is going to be different. So, because it's going to be we have to grab the session variable and put in there. So we have the name of the merchandise. So let's go ahead and start this form here with, okay, it's going to have to be an input type of hidden. So we're going to go input type equals hidden, and then the name, or let's just give it an ID. It's going to equal name merch, and then placeholder. There doesn't need to be a placeholder or anything like that, but there needs to be a value tag here, and that value is going to be the, well, it's actually going to be the ID, but let's just go ahead and get this stuff right. It's hard to talk and record a video at the same time. So that first one there is going to be the user ID. So we'll call this ID UID. And the value is going to be that PHP session variable. And so we need to grab that PHP session variable. And I believe that we have that in the header here for UID. So we just need to grab that to put in the inventory. And in here we just got to go PHP echo, and then we'll echo that variable and close that PHP tag. And we'll just save that and refresh this page. Inventory, there should be an enter inventory. Oh, we didn't put enter inventory on the menu yet, so let's go ahead and duplicate that, enter, change that to enter inventory, and let's go ahead and F5 this, enter inventory. Okay, so we're starting our thing, but you can't see the hidden field unless we right click view page source, and if we come down here past the menu, we can see the input form type of hidden, and the UID, the value is 1. So that's exactly what we need there, okay? All right, but what do we need next? Okay, the name of the merchandise. Okay, so this, in this field here, and under enter inventory, name of merchandise, we'll just put name here, name merch. Also in our input ID, name merch, class form control. The type is text, and in the placeholder we'll put name merchandise. Okay. Let's go here and refresh the page and see what that looks like. Okay, name the merchandise. All right, very good. Okay, the next one we're going to need is the location. And instead of the password, I'm just going to take this out here, and what I'm going to start doing is just duplicating this input from the label to the input right here. I'm going to hit duplicate, and this one is going to be for the location. And we could just put location of the merchandise. And so let's go ahead and make sure that's working all right. Location of the merchandise, there you go. The next one we need is the bin number. So let's go ahead and duplicate this location. We'll call it bin num. Bin number. And we'll just go with the ID of bin num. And the placeholder, see, bin number where merchandise is, or bin number of merchandise. How about that? Does that sound better? I think so. Bin number of merchandise. There we go. And description. So in this next one, we're going to have a text area instead of an input ID. So we'll go ahead and grab the label, put the label here, and we'll just put description. And we'll have the text area. ID equals description. And let's just go ahead and put a placeholder in there. Oh, not a question mark. Tag. And here we'll put a placeholder, and we'll be color slash. Let's see what I have in there. Make, model, color, material. Make, model, color, material. And let me make sure that's coming through okay. I think I might have to put a form control on that as well. Yeah. So let me go ahead and put the class of form control on the text area. So that looks nice and neat in there, shall we? Refresh, and there we go. Make, model, color, material. And let's see, what else did we have? Condition, new, used, fair. We can actually do a drop down for this particular one. I'm going to grab the Bootstrap one real quick. Okay, so I just went to the Bootstrap website and grabbed this the select option just to speed things up a little bit here. So under text, this is I believe the condition. Let's go ahead and look at our condition. So let's go ahead, label for condition. Here, capital C, condition under the ID, and option 1, we should probably put used first, used like new, used like new, fair. Okay. Oh, I guess we should have poor in there. I don't know if anybody's smart anything poor condition, but and then we have to go inside this option and put a value. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had the wrong headset on. So we'll put used here in this value, and we'll just copy this little tag here. Put these in each one right next to the options. And like new here. New, fair, and poor. Okay. Let's capitalize used there. So when it goes into the database, that's what goes into the database. This is what the user sees. This is what goes in the database. All right. So we got the ID of condition set there. So let's go see what we got to do next. The next one is a picture. So we need to do a file. Okay. So what's nice about this Bootstrap here, we could look this stuff up here, file. Of course, we're using Bootstrap 3, not Bootstrap 4. Let's go Bootstrap 3 file input. There we go. Let me just file. I'll read the whole damn thing. All right, there we go. That's where you can there we go. Right here, choose file. Let's see if it works. Yep. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and grab this custom file. Might need to grab that whole thing, but we'll find out here. So this next one, let's make the label file upload. We'll just call it file. Let's go ahead and save that, see what it looks like in our input inventory. Choose file. Yep, it's bringing it up. Okay, there we go. Actually, we're just going to go here and grab the whole thing. Come here, instead of the label, clear down to the div tag. Just paste it in there. Okay, so this is for our custom file. The type is file, custom file input, ID. We just want to maybe change this to picture. Copy for picture. And since it'll be on a cell phone probably, we'll just put picture there. And so let's go ahead and refresh this page. Push an F5. We're still not getting the complete across like we are up here. So I think maybe we need to do a form control class on there. And so all we have to do is make a space, do form-control. Let's come back here. Oh, that's not doing it either. Okay. Okay, so what I ended up doing was just taking this label class of form label, and we'll just call this file, or we'll call it picture. And we'll grab this, upload picture, and the ID is just picture, and the type is a file. And we'll handle the processing of that there. And so we'll refresh the page. See upload picture. It's where they could choose a file, grab a picture, and put it in there. And instead of login, this will be like enter. But let's see what else we have to put in here. Oh, that's it. And the final thing is a timestamp. So let's go on the submit. Just put add item, just like that. Oops. And let's go ahead F5 that, refresh. Okay, then we have add item. And we will use AJAX to enter the inventory because, so the other reason why I'm using Bootstrap, let me just show you. If I right click, hit inspect, and we click for cell phones, smartphones, we can actually see that everything kind of gets, down to a user-friendly, and then the menu collapses, and you can actually see what it would look like in an iPhone, what it would look like in a Galaxy Fold. Let's see, There's actually tablet settings in here as well. But what we want to do is make it so it's responsive to all that stuff. And yeah, that's a good thing to do. But you can do that in your Chrome browser. Turn it on, turn it off. But we want to make this as simple as possible. Okay, now we need to handle all the entries here. If somebody has their cell phone, they'll be able to click on this button and it'll bring up their camera. Okay, so that's a cool thing. All right, so let's get to work on the processor for this particular form. And let's look at processor 3. No, that's the email one. We don't want that one. Let's go processor 2. And this is okay, but let's look at just the regular processor. Okay, we're going to have this be, we're going to save this as processor 4. Processor 4.php. And we'll use this to process that form. And so everything that's in here will be processed with that. Okay, I'm just going to actually grab this old form upload page that I had, and I'm going to edit it for our little project here. So I'm going to right click, new file. I'm just going to call this one test.php, and I'm going to paste it in there and take out what we need and leave what we don't need. And I've decided that probably the best way to edit the inventory is, instead of using AJAX and JavaScript, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna have the page submit to itself, and then whenever, so the idea here is whenever they submit this page, it's just gonna reload with another blank form. We'll just reload this page. It'll go ahead and enter everything. But then as they're entering, like they got to enter the next one and the next one, this page will just stay here. So it's just going to submit to itself. And then that way we'll have a little printout on top, item added, add another item. And so that's the idea behind this here. So it ought to make it a lot easier, and then we don't have to worry about the AJAX and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through this code right here and take everything out that I need, and I'll be back once I'm ready. Okay, so I just edited this file for our enter inventory. I got some more editing to do on it, but this is so it'll take care of the file name. And one of the things I did is I created this directory over here called uploads, and that's where it's going to put the file after the form is submitted. So once this form is submitted down here, it's going to reload the page, come up here and start from the top and come down again. And then it's going to put all our errors in an array. We're going to grab the file name. Actually, this file is going to be, well, instead of the ID of picture, we'll get it an ID of file. And one of the things that we have to do here when we're submitting it like this, we're not using jQuery anymore. We're just going to use PHP. We have to put the name. So all these IDs up here have to become names. So we could leave the ID, but we just got to make an additional one for name. So let's just go through and do that. Come here, copy. So it looks for the attribute of name whenever it's submitting the form. So I just want to grab all these real quick. Okay, and then with description, ID description, we got to call this a name. Just like so. And label for condition, the ID is condition. We have to make this also name. Name equals condition. Let's save that. And then we have this file name. Okay, and then of course we're closing it out with the footer. We don't need this display div anymore because we're not using jQuery to target it. It's just going to keep reloading this page, and then so the person can add the next item in. So it goes through here and uploads that file, okay, and it's going to put it in the upload folder. But we're going to do a couple checks first. We want to make sure that it's a JPEG, JPG, PNG. We really don't need a PDF here because basically going to be probably using cell phones to track the inventory, or a computer. And here's where we check for the file extensions. If the file extension is not a JPEG, JP, or PNG, then we're going to have this error come up. Okay, extension is not allowed, and we can actually put that in a div class equals. Let's do alert hyphen warning. Okay, so let me go ahead and we'll close off that div at the end here. One of the other things that we need to do is put single quotes here so that it executes, because we're using double quotes in this class. So when we're using double quotes in the class, we can't use double quotes for PHP because it doesn't know how to do it. And so the same thing will be true down here. If they try to upload something over 2 megabytes, which is 200,000 bytes or whatever, we're going to give them a div class equals alert hyphen warning. And we'll close that off and close that div tag off right here. And so here is, if there's no errors, and that equals true, we're going to move this uploaded file to the folder called uploads that I created right here. And we're going to store the file name in there. Okay. And then we'll just echo an alert success inventory item added. Okay. Exclamation point. Or we'll just have it print the errors that we're having. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into MySQL and make sure we got our header up here, which has our config.php. And remember earlier when I was talking about closing out the connection in the footer? Well, we're going to have to do that now. So we're going to insert into merch the user, the name, merch, location, the bin number, description, condition, file. And so what we have to do here is these are the values that we have in our PHP admin right here. Now remember, the ID and the timestamp will automatically be added. So what we want to do is copy user, and I believe that's going to be UID. So we need to set these post variables up here. And let me grab a little code to help us out with that. And we'll get that little code I was talking about from this processor 4. We'll just take this one right here, go back to our inventory, and what we'll do is we'll start putting these post variables in here. And this one is going to be the UID, which is the user ID. So we'll just say UID, keep it uniform. Okay, and the next one that we need on our form item, the next name, is going to be name merch. So we'll copy name merch. We'll duplicate this. And the reason why we're filtering and sanitizing these strings is if anybody tries to put any, SQL injections or anything like that. So I'll double click name merge so I can see where I'm at here. Come down. The next one is location. I'll copy the location. Come up here. Duplicate line 6. Paste in there. Paste in there. Double click location. And our next one will be the bin number. Look at that. We have 2 IDs on this. And that is no good. This needs to be name bin number. So easy to do, right? So we'll go up here. Once again, and duplicate this line. And in place of location, we'll put bin number. Okay, so let's go down to the next item, which is the description. The name should be description. Copy. And we'll duplicate bin number and put in description. Now, I'm not sure if this sanitized string is going to let long text go. We might have to edit that, but we'll see. So here we are with description. The next one is going to be the condition. Let's make sure that we got the name condition in there. We do. Copy. Go up here, duplicate line 9. Put in condition. And I continue to hit Control S, so I save as I go. The next one that we need after condition is going to be this file. Okay, and we already have file up there, and that doesn't need to be sanitized or anything because we're taking it through all the checks anyway. So everything should be set and ready to go as far as that goes. But now let's go ahead and make sure that our variables are going into the MySQL correctly. So this first one is user, and I think that's UID, right? Yes, UID. So let's go to UID. The next one will be name merch. The next one will be location. The next one will be bin number after location. The next one after bin number is the description. Okay, and then we need to see user, name, merch, location, bin number, description. Okay, now we got condition, so we need to duplicate this, make sure you get that comma in there. And let's go grab the variable of condition. Put that in there, and finally we have to put the file in there. Let me go ahead and grab this to the comma, copy VV, paste, and then here we're going to grab the variable, the file name. Okay, and the file name goes in there. And so now when we add something into this form here, it's going to go up, reset, come down, and make a database entry. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that out. See, I'm still logged in here. Inventory, enter inventory. We'll just put test, bin number 12, red, blah, splash. Condition, like new. Let's grab a picture. Any old picture will do. And then click add item. Oh, one very important thing that I just realized that I forgot is we need multi-port form data. And we need to put an action equals post. And then we need to grab this encode type multi-port form data, and we need to put that right there. Okay, so let's hit save. Let's go back and click enter inventory again. Test 12, test, condition, new, and we'll grab the image again, and then we'll click add item. Okay, let me inspect in the console, see what's going on here. No errors in the console, no PHP errors. Let me look at this submit button. Submit type. Oh, the submit, it doesn't have a name. So, see, the name is very important. Name equals submit. Okay, and so if we go to the top here, this is looking for an if is set submit. So let's go ahead and save that. Go back, try it again. Test. One new, grab the picture, double click, add item. Okay, so let me look here. Input type. Okay, the type is submit, not button. Okay, so hopefully that does it. Let's go ahead, click enter inventory again, refresh this page, make sure. Test 12, test, condition, new, grab the file, get a picture, click add item. Aha. Okay, so up here it's posting a UID. You notice this whole long thing. So we need to be able to remedy this situation here. Okay, I found what I did wrong. It's getting late. So the method is post. The method is post. And the action, which we don't even have to put this, but I'm just going to put it here anyway. So we'll just save that like that. Let's go back and click enter inventory a couple times. Try this again. 12, test, condition like new, grab the image, add item. There we go. Now it says we have an undefined index of UID on line 5, so let's see what that's all about. Line 5, UID. Okay, let me go ahead and go down to our form. UDI. Yeah. It's been a long day. So that's the problem there. So let's go ahead and do this again. Test 12, test, like new, choose the picture, add the item. Success, inventory item added. So let's go ahead and look at our database under merge and see if it was added. Oh, there we go. Well, we actually have 2 entries. So it added the last one as well. Okay, but notice there's no user in that one. So that's how, we got this so far, and we're getting success inventory item added. But notice how it put everything green. It looks like I forgot to close out an alert div. In this div class, instead of putting a closing div tag, I put a closing alert tag. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter inventory item test 13 test like new. Use a different picture this time. Add item. Let's go. Now we see that it's there. Now we should have 3 entries in here. Very good. And just for the sake of argument, I'm just going to put user ID 1 in there like that, so we have it whenever we're calling it up in our inventory part. Okay? So, well, it's 9:30. I'm going to continue this tutorial. See you tomorrow. Okay, next day we're back at it. So, one of the issues that we're going to have is when we do not want to upload a picture. Okay, when we don't want to take a picture. Let's see what the script does. We'll see. We'll click enter inventory. Maybe we'll enter pens this time. Location of the merchandise basement, bin number 12. Assorted pens. Condition used, and this time we're not going to put a file or a picture in. Click add item. And we could see that we get this error array, extension not allowed. And that, of course, is coming from one of our checks. Let's see, extension not allowed here, this warning. So what we need to do is that if a person does not have a picture to upload, we need to put in a little command here that will skip this upload process. So we're going to check if the file exists, and we'll use the temp name, and then we'll start out with curly bracket. And if we come clear down right before the MySQL query, we'll end that curly bracket here. But the problem is that this file name variable is going to be empty. So we need to put an else statement in here. Else. And then we'll just say this variable file name, we'll copy it. We'll set that to no picture uploaded. Then that way we don't get an error in the box. Let's go ahead and check our database entry. Click on merch here. And we see we have pens here. Let's go ahead and delete that. And let's try this again. So enter inventory. We'll go ahead with pens again. In the basement, bin number 12. Assorted pens. Condition used, no picture. And we see that the script didn't have any errors. Let's go right here, click on merch. And we could see that our pen's uploaded with no picture uploaded. Okay, so now the other thing that would be nice is that whenever we enter something, that we get some type of alert, you know, maybe saying something like, you know, item added, add another item or something like that. So right down here, after it inserts it into the database, we can echo out. Well, let's go ahead and put our terminator on here. Div class equals alert hyphen success. And we'll go ahead and close out that div tag. Put our double quotes in there. Success. Your item has been added. Add another one below. Okay, so save. Let's go ahead and refresh the script. Of I don't know, cigars. And we'll have those in the basement. Bin number 1. Cubans. And we'll say new. And no picture. Click Add Item. Success, your item has been added. Add another one. And so let's go check our database. And there we go, cigars. All right. That's nice having the little alert up there as well. Okay, now we need to do this inventory layout page. So we want to be able to go to the database and show the user their inventory. So in order to do that, I want to use the Bootstrap grid system. And so I'm just going to go A1 Website Pro and just type in grid, because I have the codes here laid out for me, so I can just copy and paste them, which is nice. Okay, so here's the Bootstrap grid example. I'm going to just grab this little code here and I'll edit it in the editor. My inventory page. We already know our upload's working, so I'm just going to go to the inventory page, double click that, and I'll close everything but this. And right underneath that P tag, I'm going to start out with a div class of container fluid, and instead of this is a grid example, I don't care about that. We already have the container in the header, so we really don't need this container fluid here, I guess. So we could take that out. And that closing div tag. And this example, resize the browser. I don't care about that. We just want these rows. And so the small rows, there's 12 of them all together. So 4 and 8 equal 12. You know, this the column small 4, column small 8. And just let me show you what that does. If we come here, just hit F5, refresh, you can see I have these two columns. But I think whenever we go to the database here, we have, what do we have? We have the name of the merch, the location, the bin number, the description, the condition, and the image. So we need 6. So each one of these need to be 2. So let's go ahead and make each one of these 2. I'm just going to copy them 6 times, duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'll just save that. And this kind of gives us a rough layout of what it's going to look like. So, and the first one, we'll just go ahead and name these columns after their perspective thing. Blah, blah, blah. Can't talk this morning. This first one is going to be the name. Let's see here. Messed that up. And, you know, it's going to be a lot easier for me just to do this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next one will be the location. Then the bin number. Let's see, the description. Condition in the file. And the picture, I guess. Okay, now there might only be one problem with this though, because whenever you go to the mobile, let's go ahead and go to the mobile, see what it looks like whenever we enable the mobile. See how it puts it straight up and down? I don't know if we want to do that. So we might want to do like an abbreviated version of these grids, and we might want to use a table instead of a grid, because a table is going to keep everything nice and neat. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm gonna just disable this for a second here, and let me go back here. Instead of the rows, I'm just going to put right here. This is a table, and we're going to have it be bordered so it has an outline in it. And here, under these table heads, we'll put the name, location, so on and so forth. We need 6 of them. Description, condition, and the picture. And each one of these we got to add 3 more, so we'll just duplicate the name 3 times. These are the table columns. Alright, and then let's go up here and we'll just take this row totally out because that's just not going to work out for us. And we'll save that. And let's go ahead and refresh page. And now we have a grid. Now let's see what that's going to look like in mobile. So if we hit inspect, turn on our mobile. Okay, it's going to make it quite small. So maybe what we'll do here, instead of having 6 of them, we'll have the name of the item and maybe the location of the item and the bin number. And the description, condition, and picture, we'll link one of these so that when you click the name, it brings up the details. So let me go ahead and take off the final 3, the description, condition, and the picture, because it's just going to be too hard on a mobile device to see everything up there. So let's see how many. Okay, there we go. Take 3 off, save. Let's go ahead and refresh that. All right, now that's probably going to be a little bit better for mobile, so we'll right click, inspect. Just too much information in the table. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So that'll probably be good on pretty much any mobile device. And that's what we want to program to be responsive there. And on this page too, we could just say click name to see details. So then that way it'll be self-explanatory. So let's go to the top here. Click name to see details. Nice and simple. Here's your inventory. All right, let's start building up this table so that we actually see the results down here from our database. So we're going to have to go and connect to our database and lay out those roles. So over here at PHP programming, we could just click on PHP at A1 Website Pro, and have all these nice little links here. So if you want to go to a database, retrieve data from MySQL PHP, just click on that. And here we go. Just go ahead and grab this little, because we already have the connection to our database in our config file. So I'm just going to copy this real quick. And right underneath, okay, so these TR, that's these table rows. This is where we need to insert our PHP tag and connect to our database and let all this stuff play out. Let's go ahead and clean up this code a little bit. And we know that when we echo, we're going to be echoing out a table row to table row. So we'll copy that. Echo. Oh, let's see here. Now, we want to select all from merch, right? That's the table name that we're looking at here. Yep, merch. And then name, merch, location, and bin number. So just take this. Run. Oh, looks like I'm going to have to do a little edit there on A1 Website Pro so that stuff doesn't come through like it is. So let me go ahead and take care of this real quick so it's easier for you guys to copy and paste. Okay, so now it'll be a lot easier for you guys to just go in there and get what you need. But so let's go back here. This row name. Instead of echoing it, I'm going to store them all in variables. And then I'm going to put them inside here. In fact, instead of using a single quote, I'm going to use a double quote on this one because it just makes life a little bit easier. So we're going to grab the name of the merchandise. Okay, name merch camel case. Location and bin number, right? And how do we say bin? Oh, bin num camel case. Bin num, not name. And I'm just going to make those variables match that just to make it easier for myself. And you know what? I don't want to show you guys this way. This is okay and everything, but all we have to do is put name merch in here. We'll go head back to our single quotes, and we're just going to concatenate this stuff. All right. And when you're programming, you just try to think of the best way to do it. So we're going to pin it in a single quote, concatenate with a period, another single quote. We're going to do that with each one of them. Then that way we don't have all this garb up here. All right. Trying to clean up the code to make it a little bit better, a little more readable. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take these out because now we don't need them. We're retrieving it right from the database. And instead of selecting all, the other thing too that we need to do here is we need to get the session variable, and that's in the header, because what happens here is whenever they view the inventory, they'll be able to see everybody's inventory. So Tom, Dick, and Harry, if they're all entering stuff in here, you don't want to see their stuff. You just want to see your stuff. So we're going to grab the session variable from the header. And remember, the session variable is the UID, okay? Okay, so yeah, it's the UID. Well, we could actually grab the session ID just like this. Actually, it's already in the header. Okay, so UID should be okay. So what I'm going over in my mind right now is like if somebody is not logged in, right? We want this UID to equal 0. So if they're logged in, then we'll go ahead and they'll have a session. But if they're not logged in, then we want that UID to equal or to be set to 0. Okay, so let's just go ahead and set that to 0. And that way they'll take care of a lot of problems for us in the future. So let's go ahead and paste in the UID. It says select all from merch where user is set to. And let's just use UID. Okay, so we actually don't need this here because it's coming in, it's being included in the header up here. So we should be able to grab that variable and list out their the name of their merchandise, the location, and the bin number. Now, the rest of this stuff down here we don't need, of course, all these table rows. We do need the closing table body tag and the table tag. Okay, so let's go look at our inventory, shall we? So the inventory. There we go. So we have the name of the merchandise, the location of the merchandise, and what bin number it's in. So, and this is kind of like, where we'll have to, they could scroll down forever and ever, or we could put pagination on it, like show 10 rows at a time. And then, of course, we'll have a search up here. We might even just show the last 10 rows. And so we see the number 1 is down here, in the basement, and location test. And that's kind of revealing what it is in the database, Let's see if we see cigars. Yeah, cigars is the last one. And you see here, cigars is the last one. So let's make it so the last one that they entered is at the top, okay? And so let's go with DESC for descending. And we need to order by ID. Order by ID descending. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit F5, refresh that page. Now you see we have cigars on top. All right, so their last entry will be on top, and a lot of people are kind of used to that from like checking their email and stuff. Now I'm just going to go to this enter inventory. I'm just going to enter a bunch of stuff. Then that away, whenever we come back, we'll have a whole bunch of entries, and we'll start with our pagination. Okay, so I just got done adding a lot of items into the inventory. So I'm going to just click inventory, and you can see that we uploaded a bunch of them. But now how about if we log in and log out and log in as Mary? Will she see the inventory items of Maximus? So let me click log out and then log in. Let's go with Mary at a1websitepro.com. And I believe her password was ABC123 again. And click login. Never. Inventory page. Okay. And now she's not seeing any of the inventory. Let's go ahead and enter some inventory for her. Maybe she has a Barbie doll. In fact, I know she has. Location, bedroom, bin number 1. Who knows? Condition used, and we're not going to add a picture. We'll just click add item. Okay, so let's go to inventory. Okay, so now she's seeing her stuff. Okay, so let me click log out, and let me just go to inventory.php as a non-logged in user, and see they can't see anything. So if they're trying to get into somebody's account or see what everybody else has, they can't get it. So let me go ahead and log back in. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Go to your inventory page to get started. So basically right here, when somebody logs in, they should be redirected to their inventory page, right? So whenever I log in, boom, I want to see my inventory. I don't want to have to click the inventory page, okay? So how would I do that? Well, we're going to do a redirect so that when a person's logged in, okay, let me see here. Under our login page, we see that we're going to processor 2. So we'll bring up processor 2, and then down here, we see that the page is being reloaded, but now we can reload them and just send them to a different page. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of right now. Okay, so in order to do that, let's go to our code under processor 2 once again. And this location reload was working nicely, but now we want to reload them on a different page. So we're going to put a little piece of jQuery in here, JavaScript. And we're taking the window location replace. It's like an HTTP header in PHP, and we want to direct them to the inventory.php page. So let's see if that works, okay? So let's click login. Exiting Website Pro, 1, 2, 3, ABC, log in, and there we go. All right, so now that we're at the inventory page, let's say that we want to do some pagination, which means, we want to show like maybe 5 or 10 at a time, and then maybe go through so they can page through, and then click on a link that we'll make here eventually. But we want to do the pagination first because it takes a little bit more time. So let's go ahead and go to A1 Website Pro, and we'll do the pagination, get the codes. Okay, so I got the pagination done here, and I also did this previous page and next page, and you can see I could go to page 2, page 3, and then I could hit next page, or I could hit previous page. But now here's the issue. Well, let me just show you how I did that first. So I went through, of course we already had our table head. Now I want to limit my results per page to 5, just for this example. And here's my query. I'm selecting all from merge where the user ID equals UID, and then I'm ordering by the ID descending. And so the result, I'm making a MySQL query. Here's my database connection. There's my query. The number of results. This is where I'm getting the number of rows in the database, okay, from this query up here. And then, so that's my numbers. Now here's the number of the page. I use the seal function from PHP, which I take the number of the result divided by the results per page, okay? And this, if is set, I'm going to get the page number, okay? Because here's the deal. If they just come to inventory and there's no page number up there, then I need to have that if set. And you can see I got to fix it down here as well. So since there's no page number set, I'm getting that undefined index. So I got to do this same thing down here. Now we'll do that in a minute. So the first page result is the page minus 1 times the results per page. And then I'm going to make another query to select all from the database to display the table rows. And here I'm putting the limit on it. The limit is the first page results and the results per page. Here I do another query, and I grab that result, and I go into my while loop, and this is where I'm going to fetch an array and where I'm going to display the name and everything like that. But anyway, so I need to come down here and continue this. I added a class, had the button warning on both ends, so that's in Bootstrap it just turns these orange. Okay, but I want to get rid of that error, the undefined index, because it's not getting a page number up here. So let me take care of that real quick, and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, it's pretty simple, really. I said if is set get page, and then I'm doing this pages as one. I could actually probably just put this stuff up here. It would work, but since this page is going through this loop, then it would mess everything up down here. So basically, all I really need to do is duplicate this and add a variable of pages, and duplicate this one as well and put pages there. And then that way I could just take all of this out, clean up my code. No sense in doing this again. So then I'll click save, and if I come to this page and hit F5 to refresh, we should get rid of that warning, and it indeed did happen. But here's the other thing that I want to happen. If we're on the home page or page 1, I don't want previous page to show up because there is no previous page. When we're on 4, I don't want next page to show up because there is no page 5. And if we go to next page, there's no page 5. So let me take care of that real quick and I'll show you what I did. Okay, let me show you what I did here. I have, there's 4 different pages. If I click next page, you can see that previous page appears. And I click next page, go to page 3, page 4, and then I have this last page. So how did I do that? Well, I actually came down here, and of course these are my previous page and next page buttons. But one of the things that I did here is put the if statement. If previous page is greater than 0, I want to show this button, previous page. So if we go to inventory, we could see there's nothing there. So we don't have previous. All right. So that's this if statement doing that. If it's greater than 0. Now, if it's not greater than 0, it'll show the button. Okay, so that's page 2. Now, the next thing that I did is if you're on page 4, you don't want to show next page, but I did want to show last page. So I used the if statement again. If the next page is less than the number of pages, which is 4, and then I used the or statement, or the next page is equal to the number of page, which is page 4, then I want to go ahead and show this button. Else, if neither of these conditions are met, I'm going to do else, and then I'm going to show a danger button, which turns it red, and then the href tag, I'm just going to put a hashtag in there and put last page. So that's the logic that I'm displaying there, and I think that it works out good. It's nice and simple and easy to use. So the next thing that we need to code is somebody can click on this as a link, and they can see the details of the notebook. Maybe you have a picture in there or so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get that coded up, and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, in order to make each one of these a link, what we want to do, I'm just going to show you what I'm doing here. Here in this first table column, we want to make a href tag, and go ahead and just put our double quotes in there. Let's close this out, our anchor text. And in here, we're probably going to create a details.php and then a question mark equals. And what we want in here is the row of ID. So we'll concatenate and just grab a row thing here. Go inside the concatenation. And here we want the ID. Okay. Spell details correctly. Save. And let's go ahead and refresh this page. Now all these become links, and if you look down in this lower left-hand corner, you could see that's page 27, page 26, details page 25, which details.php doesn't exist yet. So let's just go, let's close everything out except in inventory. And no, I don't want to save test. Yeah, I will save test, fine. And let's go ahead and get our details page going. And you know what, since this already has get page and all that stuff, I'm just going to go file, save as, details, PHP. And now I'm going to go ahead and bring up my inventory page again. But here in details, we want to get the page number, the P number, right? So when we hover over here, you see I have, after the question mark, I need to put a P in this inventory page. So let's go ahead. P equals that page, okay? And so we're going to use this P to get in the get function here. So let's go ahead. Let me think about how I want to present everything using Bootstrap, and I'll come back and show you what I did in the details page. Okay, so now you see I have cigars. If I click on cigars, it comes here. I have my entries, but there's like no formatting. And for this, I believe that I'm going to use the Bootstrap grid. But basically what I did, this is the details page. This get P, which is right here, the P equals 27. So I stored that in a variable called item ID. So here I'm selecting all from merch where the user, so the user only sees their items, and the ID is the item ID. And then we go in there, we do our query, and we echo out the results. But in here, I want to show these as a Bootstrap grid, that we were going to use in the first place. So let me go to A1 Website Pro and just grab the grid. Since I already have it stored here, search, just type in grid, hit enter. I'm going to go down here and grab my little code that I use all the time for this particular project. And then here I'm just going to go ahead and echo it out. And I'm going to format all my stuff in here. And since we have 6, I'm going to do different rows. Like maybe I'll have the name be the top one. So we know that there's 12 columns. And so this very first one is just going to be the name, the very first row. So we'll have name merch go right in there. And I have to concatenate like so. And I can get rid of name merch now. Location and bin number, I think that I could just put them on in the same. Here, let me clean up this code a little bit. And so I could just hit line 13, hit Control D for duplicate. And instead of 12, we'll have 6. Because I want to put the bin number. Bin number. And then inside this div, I'm just going to duplicate this div right here. And this will be, oh, actually, this first one should be location, right? So let's do location. And we better concatenate that before we get in trouble here. I don't know why I didn't copy. Okay, just a mix-up that I did. So the first row is just going to have the name across the top. And you know what? We could put that in like an H1 tag. And so let's do that. And the second row is going to have 2 columns, which is going to include the location and the bin number. And this next column, let's just have the where it's talking about the condition. So this might be a little bit more descriptive. And so what we want to do here, let's get rid of these 2. We took care of those. Grab the description, and we're just going to have that take up a whole row. And instead of H1 tag, we'll just put a P tag in here. And in all reality, the condition, that's just a small bit piece of information. So we can actually put that as another row in this. Of course, we'll have to modify the rows. Instead of 6, we'll put 4 because it'll be 3 across. So let me copy that, paste, and these are now going to become 4. Oh, 4, 4, 4, and the condition copy be right here. And then finally there will be an image. And where should we put the image? Maybe put it right towards the top here. What do you think? So we'll just duplicate that, have it be its own row. Copy this, and we'll put that in an image tag. So source equals, and that'll be the file. We'll just close out that image tag like that. And if it doesn't have an image, we're going to have to do something else. But let's go ahead and save this and see what it looks like. Oh, there you go. Well, we got on line 12, we have location. Something's wrong with that, so let's fix that. And I think I abbreviated location. Let's see. Location. Let's see, line 12. Assumed row. Let me see here. Sometimes. Okay, so I got to put the $sign there. Duh. So that's what happened there. Let's go ahead and refresh the page. Okay, so we got the location is the basement, the bin number. I gotta edit some stuff here. Let's put this in an H2 tag. Location. That'll probably look a little better. The bin number, let's go ahead and put it in an H2 tag. And let's go here. Bin number, we'll put it in an H2 tag as well. Well, okay, so this is the condition, but we'll put it in an H2. And we'll change this to condition. This with a colon. And close out this H2 tag. All right, let's click save and see what it looks like. Okay, cigars, and there's no picture of the cigars. Location is basement, bin number 12, condition new, and here's our description, American cigars. And why are we having new, no picture uploaded? Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay, let's take that out there. Refresh. All right. We could get rid of that yellow. We don't need that yellow in there, do we? So style background yellow, we'll just take it out. So I'm just going to highlight this, copy, find, and replace with nothing. Replace all. There we go. Clean up the code a little bit there. It gets rid of that yellow. American cigars. Now let's go ahead and go back to our inventory, and maybe on page 4 we'll go to the first one. I think we put a picture in this one. No, we did not put a picture in that one. Christmas ornaments, No. Okay, let me find one we put a picture in. Okay, I do have a picture in this one, but whenever you click the view source, you could see that it's just pointing to the file. What I need to do is over here in the uploads, I need to adjust the syntax for the image. So we need to go to uploads / and then the file name. Save. Let's go back to the page, refresh. And okay, let's see what's going on here. Still not showing. It looks like it's supposed to be there. So let's see what happens. Okay, one of the things that we're going to have to take care of, let me show you. Let me go to inventory, and if I go to page 4, which is it's a descending order, if I hit test, you can see that our image comes through. But if I go to inventory and go to page 3 and click the next image, you could see, excuse me, it's not coming through. But if we look at our database, we could see that number 2 does indeed have an image file in there. Now the problem is all these spaces. So when we're uploading an image, we need to take out all the spaces and replace them with dashes. So let's take care of that now. Okay, to do that, we're going to have to edit the enter inventory file. So that when they're uploading, it puts hyphens in there. So we're going to handle this with one line of code in the enter inventory.php file. And we're just going to paste this code in here that I created. Basically, it's taking that file name that we're getting from right up here, the name of the file, and we're using the string replace function. If we find a space, we're going to put a hyphen in there, and then we're going to insert that name into our database. So let's check it. Let's save our file. Let's go check it, make sure it works. I'll refresh the page. Cool stuff. Location, put it in the basement, bin number 12. Cool stuff. Condition used, let's go ahead and use our picture. Now notice, let's see, let's get a picture. Let's get another picture. Maybe we'll use my Sweet Mary here. Then we want a picture. Let's go to the desktop here. Here's one that has all kind of spaces in it. Okay, we used this one before. See all the spaces in that name. So let's just double click that one. Okay, there it is. It's in there. And then we'll click add item. Okay, now it's uploaded. Let's go to our inventory. It should be this first one. Cool stuff. And voila, now we could see the image. All right, so that's how we're taking care of replacing any file names. And if the file name doesn't have anything in it, we're just going to put none. Okay, so from now on, that's the way it's going to be. Because here's the reason why. If there is if there's not an image in here, we could actually upload an image like a placeholder, but I would just rather show nothing, because if we go to our inventory, which I'll show you, and we go to like cigars, now it looks like we have a missing image here, but there's no image that was stored in the database, so I really don't want to show anything. Or I could actually, we could actually do like no image, and let me show you how we're going to take care of this. So in the details, if there's no file, we're going to go in here, grab this row, and I'm going to make a little thing here, and we'll just call this check. Okay, we'll set check to that file. So if $check is equal to nothing, we're going to start putting none in there. Let's make sure. So if it's equal to none here, because that's what we're going to put in the database to make it easier on ourselves. So if it's equal to none, then we want to do this. We want to echo let's see here. We'll put it in a P tag. No image uploaded. And then close that P tag. And else, we will just go ahead and let it do what we programmed it to do in that particular instance. So we'll grab this, come down here, put the curly bracket at the end. And so now if it's going to check the database here in the row file, if it says none, then no image is uploaded. So let's go ahead and test that out. Let's enter inventory. This time we won't do we won't upload an image. We'll call this stuff. Location basement bin 12 stuff. Condition used. Let's just go add item. Let's go to the inventory and we'll click on stuff. And it says no image uploaded. And that's exactly what we want to happen here. Okay, now the next thing that we need, we should put pagination in on this the inventory details page. Otherwise, the person's going to have to keep clicking back to inventory, go through the page, and maybe click RAM chips. And so that when you're in the details page, it'd be nice to go back and forth. So let's make that happen on the details page. Okay, so let's make that happen. I'm going to show you what I did here. Basically, I went up and for the get p, the get page, I stored it in a variable called item ID, and we used that in the query. But the other thing I had to do is I had to get the number of rows from this query. So from the result, I'm going to use the numRows function in PHP and store that in a variable called total. When I come down here, you can see this is kind of like on the inventory details page, the inventory page. But I set a variable called next page, and it's the item ID +1. So that'll give us our next page. The previous page, a variable, is the item ID -1. So if the previous page is greater than 0, then I want to show this button. And I changed this to details.php, and I changed the page to P. And then, of course, we're getting the previous page. And then in this next one, I have if the next page is less than the total, that's total number of entries, or the next page is equal to the total number of entries, then I'm going to go ahead and display this next page. All right, so let's see how that works out. Let me hit save. Come over here, I'll hit refresh, and see here we have previous page, and we're on page 23. Let's see if we could get the next page going. Okay, so the next page isn't working. Let me see what's going on there. Oh, okay, I see what I did. So what I need to do to get the numRows, basically it's in my MySQL query. I'm selecting all from merch where the user is the ID and the ID is the ID, so that will only show 1 in the numRows anyway. So what I want to do is, I tell you what, to keep it separate, I'm going to cut this out here, and let's just go down here and we'll do another query to get our numRows for our total. So we'll grab these 2 lines and we'll just edit them down here right above our total. And we want to select all from merch where user equals UID, and then we want to take this AND statement out. Okay, and oh, hold on, I think I need that single quote in there. And then here's the result, and we'll just add another T on the result here. Make sure it doesn't interfere. It will not interfere. You don't have to take that out because the variable changes as it goes down the page. So I just like to keep it, to let me know that this is a different kind of query. All right, so let's go ahead and hit save, and let's refresh this page. And for some reason I did something wrong here. Hold on. Okay, I just refreshed the page when I took off the video. But so here we have next page, previous page, and it starts showing up. And so it's only going to show that user their items. Let me take off that 19. I did a little bit of debugging. I was echoing out the total there just to see what was going on. But when I hit refresh, it started working. So there we go. Now we could actually take this and put this over to the right, instead of having them that close together. So let's just add a class onto this. I believe the class is right. So let's see here. Nope. Okay, let's try pull right. So here we go. PULL hyphen right. And that hopefully will do it for us. Yeah, there we go. And so we have next page. Now when we get to their last page, this next page should disappear. Let's go ahead and, oh, there it goes. Previous page. And instead of page, we should put item, right? That sounds a little bit better. Just like so. All right, now let's go here in our database and make sure that we can't see Mary's information. So Mary made a couple entries, and hers is number 28. Okay, so let's go see if we could see page 28. Very good. So we can't see any of Mary's information. So that's one thing that we want to make sure of. Now, Mary, let's go ahead and log out. We'll log in as Mary again. Mary at A1 Website Pro, and I believe hers is ABC123. Click login. There we go. Don't want to check the passwords. Don't save them. Okay, let's look at her inventory. She only has one item. So, and she has number 28. So, even though this is her one and only item, it's showing up this previous item. So let's go ahead and take care of that. I tell you what, so I could work with the logic a little bit better. I'm going to enter another item for Mary, and we'll call this make up location bedroom. Bin number 2, eyeshadow. And we will just go ahead and add that item there. And so let's add one more. Lipstick, bedroom, number 1, red. Click add item. So in her inventory, she should have 3 items. Yes, she does. Okay, and she only has one entry in her pagination. But let's go ahead and go to makeup. Previous item, inventory. Okay, so we have a problem with the next button not showing up for Mary. Let me see what's going on there. Okay, so now you're starting to see the problem with this pagination, because Mary, she's going through all these entries up here that are actually my entries, and she needs to see her own. And then the next user, they'll just start seeing blank pages and think that something's wrong. So we need to get that specific user's next entries. And now we're going to go into functions. So I'm going to create a file here. I'm going to call it functions.php. And this is just going to make life a little bit easier for us, okay? Put in my PHP tag. Up here, I'll include _once. The config file, because we'll have to connect to the database. And so we'll do that, and function, we'll call this get next ID for the user, and there will be a variable that we have in there to grab the user's information. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and code this up, and then I'll be back and I'll show you how this is going to work. Okay, let me show you what I did here. If we go to Mary's inventory page and we click on the middle one, Makeup, you could see that we have the previous item. When we click on previous item, notice that button disappears. And we go to the next item. Sorry, go to the next item. That disappears. Okay, so that if you're on the very first one, and it just does it for this user, it's not scrolling through all of the entries in the database, it's just going through the ones for this particular user. Okay, and so let me show you how I did that. I actually added a functions file. So I added a functions file into the program, and I'm calling it into the header right here. Now we don't have to worry about the config file being called in, because the config file is being called in at the very top of the functions. I created a function and called it getNextID, and in that we're going to have a variable. And you could see whenever we go to the details, the variable that I'm using is the item ID variable. So whatever it's getting from the browser, it's going to get that P. It's going to store it in item ID, and I'm using this function to get it. Okay. Now, when you're inside a function, you got to globalize some variables, like the connection to the database. I had to globalize the user ID so I could use it in the query, and the item ID. I had to globalize that. Well, actually, I don't even need the item ID, so I could just take this out, I believe. Let me just go ahead and take this out real quick. Save it. Make sure everything's working still. Yes. Okay, good. So the next thing that I did is I queried the database, and I selected all. I selected the user and the ID instead of selecting all for merch, where the user equals the UID, that global variable, and the ID is greater than the var that we put in there, which is obviously the item and ID, or the page number. Okay, now the reason why I had to do this is I needed to make that pagination unique to each user. The next thing I did is I got the number of rows, and I stored that in a variable called total. And if the total was greater than 0, I'm going to go ahead and fetch it out and get the user next item. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit here. Well, I guess that's fine. And then the user next item, I'm going to return it down here. Else, if the total is not greater than 0, I'm going to make the user item equal to 0. Okay. Now down here, everything is exactly the same, except for in the MySQL, I use the less than, and ID is less than var. Okay. Here up, the ID is will be greater than var. Down here, less than var, because this is for the previous and this is for the next. Okay. So that's what's going on there. Let me go ahead, save this, and I'll log out of Mary's account, and I'll log into my account. Max at a1websitepro.com, and it's 123ABC. Click login, and there we are. I could go ahead, I'll click on the first one, and okay, so whenever this right here, our inventory is in descending order, so that's the last one that I entered. So it might be confusing. We might have to make this ascending order, because when we click on that, we automatically expect a next button to appear here, not the previous item. But because that's in descending order, it's showing our last item entry first. And so if I click previous item, you'll see I get next item. So if I go inventory here and I go to page 4 and I click on the first test, you can see that I just get next item. I don't get the previous. And so that might be a little bit confusing. So let's go ahead and in the inventory page, we'll make this ascending order instead of descending order. It's nice to see the last entry first, so I'll probably go back and forth with that a couple times, ascending, descending. So ASC is ascending order, save. Let's go back here. I'll refresh this page, and there we go. We got our first entry there. All right, and yeah, there we go. And then we could click next page. That's working just fine. Next page. Now I think I do have to put on the inventory pagination, because if I log out, let's log into Mary's, she will possibly see mine after she gets 5 entries here. So let's go to Mary's and ABC 1 2 3 and put in a or well, 1 2 3 ABC. ABC 1 2 3. Let me see. I can't get logged into Mary's. Okay, there we go. So let's put in about 3 more entries. So dress, location, closet, bin number 1, blue, and add item, shirt, dresser, drawer number maybe 7, black. Let's put one more in here. We'll put I don't know, necklace, location, jewelry, cigar box. It's just, since I can't spell jewelry, gold. And let's click add item. Now let's go to our inventory page. Now that shows her stuff up just fine, but let's go to the next page. Now that shows up just fine too. So let's see here. If I log out, let me go into mine and see if I'm seeing any blank pages. Exit a1websitepro.com. 1 2 3 ABC. Go here, page 2, page 3, page 4. Now that's working out just fine. Okay, so that works out just fine. So our pagination for that is just fine. It's just whenever we go to the specific items and we need to go to the person's next item or the next item, we want it just to be user specific for that person. Okay. Now the next thing that we probably should institute is a delete button. So what if the person gets rid of it or uses it or something like that? So they're going to have to be able to delete it. So if we right click inspect element and enable our mobile, we might have room for a like a red X table over here. You know, that'll be for deleting. And I don't like how these buttons seem to be a little bit too big. Let me try something more regular. Yeah. So I don't like how those buttons go down there like that. So let's make this a little bit more user friendly, so that when a person goes to that, it doesn't look like that. Okay, so what I think that I'm going to do is I'm going to target mobile devices here and take these green buttons out when they're on mobile and just have previous and next and not show them the pages, because it just seems like that's too tacky for, we want to keep it as simple as possible. Remember, we're going to have the search option, and they will be able to page through it, but just not go to like page 3 or page 4 on a mobile device. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a style sheet, that's new file, style.css, and we're going to target mobiles, but let's go ahead and get it in our header first. If we come down to where it has this bootstrap min, this style sheet here, all we have to do is duplicate that, and then in the URL we're going to take all this out and just put style.css there. And that, since we have it below this one, this style sheet that we're going to work on now is going to have priority because it's going to be the last one called in. So let me go ahead and grab some mobile device targeting here. Go to our style sheet. I'm just going to paste this in here. And in the details, right here, let's this is where those items, in fact it's not details, it's inventory. Let's make a class called hmobile for hiding on mobile pages. We'll save that, copy that, and here the minimum width is 320. Let's go ahead and come inside this curly bracket here. We'll put our class in of hmobile and display none, just like so. We'll save that, go back, let's refresh this, get it in there. Okay, so it took it out on the desktop, which is what I don't want, but let's see what it did on a mobile. It has it in, so I have it backwards here. So let's go back to this here. Instead of min width, we'll do max width. And actually, I want the max width on 480 too. I want this same thing to display in here. Copy. Save. Let's go ahead. Let's make sure that we have it in the desktop. There it is. And right click, inspect. And we want to enable the cell phone. And yes, we just have a previous page and next page. And let's go click next page, next page. Okay, that's working out nicely. Okay, and that's the way we'll handle that, so it doesn't look so tacky and it's easier to maneuver around there. All right, so let's handle deletion. So if somebody added something and they need to delete it, let's go ahead and start on that now. I'm going to go here to maybe one of these test ones that I have, and the details page, P1. We'll go ahead in here and maybe make a place here to just a button here to delete the item. Maybe right next to the top. We know this. We have this in one big long column. So let's go to the details page, and then at the top where we have this column 12, let's make that just that. We could go 9 and 3. So we'll have the title there, the H1 title. Let's go ahead and grab this. Go after the that div tag. Put in a closing div tag, and we want this to be 3 because 9 and 3 make 12. And we'll go inside this tag here, and this is going to be kind of like a button. Right? Maybe we'll use JavaScript or something, or jQuery to make the deletion into one of the processor files. And we'll go ID equals delete. And let's just close this out. And we'll put delete item, just like so. And we'll give this button a class. Class equals Inside the class, we'll put btn for button, and btn danger, make the button red. And then btn, we probably should just make this small, right? SM. All right, let's go see what that looks like. Refresh this page. So here we have our button delete item. And now let's make it work, shall we? We'll grab some jQuery and get this rolling. Okay, I'm going to, on this button here, we have the ID of delete. I think what I'll do is, while I'm in this while loop, and so that's going to be important whenever we're doing these details and stuff, but we're only showing one item at a time, so I can actually put this jQuery down here, or the script, and then maybe have the display div. We'll have it come up by the, how about the title? Let's put it right by the title. And then, actually, let's put it in here. And just to give this some separation while I'm crafting out this form for deletion, I'm just going to do that. And let's go in here and let's start making that form tag. We'll close out this form tag. And input type equals hidden, because we're going to have to grab the ID, and then we'll go, the ID would be equal to IT ID, like item ID, okay. And the value, of course, is going to be the row of ID. So let's grab this right here with it already concatenated for us. Throw that in there and just put in the ID. And so since that's hidden, we really don't have nothing else to do. And here's our button. So when this ID, when this is clicked, we want to execute something. So down here, document ready function, when delete, when that's clicked, we want to get the value of IT ID. Okay, we'll just change that to IT ID, and then we'll put this IT ID 1 stored in that a data string. And we have a processor 4. Let's go for a processor number 5. And we have that display div up there by the title. So this is all ready to send to processor number 5. So let's go and save that. And let's bring up processor number 4. Possibly processor number 2. Nah, fucking all kind of bullshit here. Processor. Yeah, let's just go ahead and save this as file. Save as processor 5. Click save. And basically this is going to delete. And I'm just going to go to A1 Website Pro. Go to our programming, PHP. I'd probably just grab the snippets. There we go. Delete. Delete from a database. There we go. Looks like I got some fixing to do there. All right, so we're including our config file. We really only need we really only need this right here. Then we can do an alert. But this, so the details, we're going to processor 5, and we're bringing this data string over. And let's see here. Yep. Copy processor 5. ITID1. That's what get processed over here. We'll just go ahead and sanitize that. And we'll just change this to ID here because it's no big deal. Delete from, what is our table? Merch. Let's check it just to make sure. Yep, delete from merch where ID equals variable of ID. And then what we want to do is echo out on bootstrap alert here. Div class equals alert warning, I guess. And this alert will be like, hey man, you just deleted your crap. Okay. I've got to end that with a single quote there. This has to be a double quote in here. Unless PHP will freak out and not know what to do. Item is deleted. Okay, there we go. Item is deleted. So let's go here. Refresh. Delete item. Item is deleted. So let's try to refresh one. Oh, nothing there now. Inventory. Here's another item. Let's go to the next item. Previous item. Previous item. Next item. So 31, that should be my last entry here for me. So I'm user 1. And yes, 31 is my last entry, so that's working out just fine. Okay, let me just go directly to my inventory. Go to this test. Good. This test. Let me delete the item. Item's deleted. And we go to my inventory. And that's gone there too. Okay. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty simple and straightforward. You can just delete your item. When you go to that page, delete it. But what if you just wanted to delete it right here from the inventory, right? You just have a little deletion there. You could do that. But you know what? I'm going to call this the end of this tutorial because, man, this is like hours long, you know? And I've never done a tutorial like this before, but I've got a lot of requests. It's like, hey, listen, just let me go through it and let's see all your mistakes and what you do and stuff like that. And so I thought, well, okay, yeah, this is it. You know, this is what you do. And now we got something to track our inventory, and that's what we need. All right, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll talk to you later.